on 2 counts of murder. The women's aunt, Maki Muramaga, says she does not want to see him in court.
I don't think I ever want to see him, and I don't think I could ever forgive him. We will forgive each other in heaven.
The suspect is also accused of attempted murder after he allegedly shot a 3rd victim who's recovering in hospital. Modise, Eyewitness News in Mamelodi.
Gauteng police have discovered 20 million rands worth of cocaine in Midrand. Officers conducted an operation yesterday after receiving a tip-off about drugs that were being stored at a plot in Blue Hills. Investigations revealed the drugs were brought into South Africa from a neighboring country and were destined for Cape Town. The police's Atlenda Mate says one person has been arrested.
We can confirm that we have arrested the owner of the plot, a 56-year-old man, and the cocaine weighing about 80 kilograms, which is worth 20 million, has been seized. He is expected to appear before the Midrand Magistrate Court later on this week.
Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi and National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza have relaunched the country's TB caucus to rally political support for the eradication of the disease. The Parliamentary caucus waned since its launch in 2018, and Motsoaledi says the relaunch is necessary to get MPs to once again play an active role in mobilizing their communities to get tested. The Health Department aims to test 5 million people a year as it also prepares for the introduction of a new vaccine to prevent the disease. Lindsay Dentlinger takes a look.
Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says parliamentarians need to be a bridge to their communities to reduce stigma, encourage early testing and provide support and guidance if government is to be successful in reaching its testing target. Motsoaledi says while new cases of TB have declined over the last 10 years, it's still affecting hundreds of thousands each year, with HIV patients accounting for 54% of the TB population. Motsoaledi says trials for the new M72 vaccine in 7 countries, with the biggest testing site in South Africa, will pave the way for a switch in prevention.
And we believe by 2028, the trials will be over and we'll start rolling it out. That is our hope. Only then can we safely say we are bringing an end to TB.
Motsoaledi says TB will feature prominently at discussions of the G20 Health Ministers meeting in Polokwane next month. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Cameroon's Interior Minister Paul Atanga Nji says opposition leader Issa Tiroma Bakary will face legal action over allegations of inciting violent post-election demonstrations. At least 4 protesters have been killed during clashes between security forces and opposition supporters since Cameroon's election 2 weeks ago. 92-year-old President Paul Biya won an 8th consecutive term. Tiroma Bakary insists he won the election, a claim that's been dismissed by Biya's ruling party, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. Dr. P.P. Hughes, policy analyst from Cameroonian think tank Nkafu Policy Institute, speaks about the situation in the country.
As of today, 29th, is that protests are still ongoing. We have protests in major cities. The protest in Douala is one of those protests that have really drawn the attention of the international communities because our properties have been burned in Marwa, the CPDM.
Gold is trading at $3,977.36 an ounce. The rand is at 17.13 to the dollar, 22.66 to the pound, 19.92 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.47 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident on the NY North. This is in the Waterfall City area. Just as you approach Allendale Road, it's causing delays from the Baklu interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu turn-off due to roadworks.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, community members have gathered outside the Mamelodi Magistrates Court where a 38-year-old suspect is expected to make his first appearance in connection with the murder of 2 women.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show on this Wednesday, the 29th day of October. 2 days actually to go before we wrap up this month. I hope you're well this morning. It's wonderful to be in your company. We were meant to be in Westbury today. We had an outside broadcast planned. Everything was done. We were going to be in Westbury following the recent shooting of these 7 young men, which left 2 of them deceased, one of them 13 years old. And police had told us last week that they believe that this has something to do with gangs. Gangs and drugs, issues that have affected the Westbury community for the longest time. And I wanted us to look at the possible solutions. I wanted to bring in the top cops to come and tell us about the specialized teams that they've put up in Westbury. What have they been able to achieve over the last couple of years, right? What are the police doing? What's the community doing? That's what we're supposed to do today. And then we saw that there was a 60% or so chance of rain today. So we had to make a call late last night to postpone our outside broadcast. So I apologize for that. But normally when we do outside broadcasts and it's raining, it affects the quality of the line. So we don't want to be having technical glitches because of the weather. So we've decided to postpone it. So we're going to do it next week. I'm sorry. I know there are so many people who wanted to come and join us for this conversation. In fact, I received a message now as I started the show from, what's the name? Okay, Anonymous. Okay, this person says, Clement, I want to remain anonymous. I'm raising boys in Westbury. They are not part of any gang, but they could become targets. And I'm concerned about that. So, and this person goes on to tell us about what their experience is living in Westbury and what he is concerned about regarding his young boys. So it's a very important conversation to have. I think sometimes it's easy for us to do the headlines and be outraged about young boys being killed, young boys being part of gangs and engaging in drugs. But I think we can take it a step further. And that's not to say that when we do an outside broadcast in Westbury, somehow then miraculously gang violence ends. But at least we're having a conversation. At least we're hearing people. We're giving them a platform and an opportunity to speak to us and express how they feel about the situation that is so concerning. So we'll do our outside broadcast in Westbury next week. We'll give you all the details about the specific day. Right now, though, we start with the 702 open line. You can give us a call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Have you picked up how certain politicians ask certain witnesses questions at the parliamentary inquiry? Or how politicians have been behaving during this inquiry? Because I've been making a few observations and I wonder if you have observed something similar. I mean, all of them. I've been watching because the thing about the parliamentary inquiry, one thing I appreciate about it is that, one, it's better than Madlanga Commission in terms of, and we've had a conversation about this, one, accountability. There are better chances of there being accountability through the parliamentary inquiry than through the Madlanga Commission because, in fact, somebody else could go to court and force Parliament to take decisions that are rational. Whereas with the Madlanga Commission, they could easily just say, hey, Mr. President, we think you should do 1, 2, 3, and the President can decide not to do that. Even though that report is going to go to the Chief Justice, is going to go to Parliament as well, which is great, and I think it enhances the chances of accountability. But the parliamentary inquiry, I mean, Parliament is a body that's constitutionally obligated to hold the executive accountable. And if they're not doing that and they're veering off that constitutional mandate and obligation, you and I can hold Parliament accountable for that or other parties, even in Parliament. So that's number one. But number two, I think it's better than the Madlanga Commission because actually you've got members of Parliament that are asking some robust questions. Because I find that at the Madlanga Commission so far, we're only listening to people, they're being helped, like evidence leaders are helping lead their evidence, which is fine. But we need more than that. We need things to be probed. And yes, commissions are more, what's that word? Inquisitorial? what's that word they normally use? So it's not like you're in a court of law. I get that. But still, man, just like there are certain instances where even the commissioner of the Madlanga Commission, like the Justice Madlanga, has asked some key questions. Remember when he asked the National Police Commissioner about taking an unlawful instruction from the police minister? Remember, like those are the kind of questions you also need, because this also just helps us understand the systems, but there must be an element of accountability, even in how the Madlanga Commission conducts its work. Like, let's ask key questions. And I find that in Parliament, even though politicians there may have their own ulterior motives, they are asking the key questions. That's why I have been grateful to the members of Parliament there. Now, having said that, you can already pick up some behaviors. Like, the DA, I've already picked up, and I wonder what you make of this. You may disagree with me, but I've picked up, like, the DA has sort of taken a posture here. You can tell that in the questions they're asking, they're not fully in support of General Mkhwanazi. In fact, they're not happy with him because General Mkhwanazi has gone after the DA through Diane Kohler Barnard. So there are questions that even Glenys Breitenberg, for instance, would ask Senzo Mkhunu or Shadrack Sibiya. I remember she would say, so why now? Why that press briefing on the 6th of July then? Why? Why now? And you can just tell in the questions that, there's the posture they're taking. And it's not just the DA, right? Any political party in Parliament, they've had a caucus meeting. That's why they've got caucuses and they've got chief whips, because their chief whips must tell them, this is the line we are following. So even with the EFF, have you picked up Julius Malema? What have you picked up about Julius Malema? He wasn't there yesterday, was he? With Castle Matale. Was he there yesterday? He wasn't there yesterday. So what have you picked up about? Because it's almost like he's selectively participating in the ad hoc committee. He wasn't there when Shadrack Sibiya was cross-examined. Why? And then we find out at the Madlanga Commission that he may be close to Shadrack Sibiya. It's almost like he's recusing himself without recusing himself. Yesterday, I'm told he wasn't there. Castle Matale is his father figure. So it's almost like he's recused himself so that he's not caught in an awkward moment where his father figure is testifying there and he must ask questions. He did once say that Castle Matale is his father figure, right, Abel? If I'm not mistaken. Wasn't he on, was it Annele's show? And that's when he was asked about who's in your close circles. Do you remember that?
Outside that space, I've got a friend or a father figure called Castle Matale, who is a deputy minister of police. We were together in the ANC, grew up under him. And when I went to his house to tell him, I'm now forming the EFF, he said to me, I've seen how you've been treated. I will not say no, I will not say yes. It's your call to make, but that doesn't affect our relationship. So if you need anyone to call me and tell me where to get off, that's Castle Matale.
Well, Castle was there in Parliament yesterday. Where were you, Mr. Malema? Huh? On the other hand, someone else could argue, well, it's good for Julius to recuse himself because this is someone who's very close to him. But it's this selective participation that sometimes doesn't make sense. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe Julius was engaged in something yesterday. Maybe even when Shadrack Sibiya was being cross-examined, Julius somehow got busy. Who knows? But I'm not too convinced by that. And then you've got, like, Abom Tumiseni Ntuli, the ANC chief whip of the ANC, Kusela Digo. What observation have you made with how they ask their comrades questions? Becky Kele, Senzo Mkhunu. What have you observed about how they've been asking them questions? I mean, there are some ANC MPs, I must say, who have been very tough. Like Ola Ngola. Ola Ngola is an ANC member. He's the chair in Parliament of the Justice Committee, if I'm not mistaken. And I love how consistent he's been, like asking really some tough questions. But I must say, he was more tougher with Shadrack Sibiya than he's been with Senzo Mkhunu and Becky Cele. There's a guy from the MK, Kimang, that guy, is it Shongwe? There's a chap from the MK party who has also been quite good with asking the questions. And then there's the PAs, is it Ashley? Ashley Sauls, that guy's from the Patriotic Alliance, right? And then you can tell how he asks questions about the political Killing Stars team. You can tell who supports the disbandment and who doesn't. And from his questions, you can tell that not a big fan of the political Killing Stars team. Now you have to contextualize it. He's from the Patriotic Alliance. Who is the deputy president of the Patriotic Alliance? Kenny Kunene. Kenny Kunene? Who is Kenny Kunene? Kenny Kunene is an MMC, but also a businessman from Johannesburg. Who is Kenny Kunene friends with? Serge Kabonge. Who is Kenny Kunene also friends with? Malcolm X, or associated with. Who are these two people associated with? Then you go to Serge Kabonge, you go to Ket Matlala. Huh? Because that's what he said. They've got an association, right? Who is Serge Kabonge besties with and friends with? Shadrack Sibiya. Who pushed for the disbandment of the political Killing Stars team? Shadrack Sibiya. So you always have to follow the money, follow like the web, connect the dots is what I mean to say. I would like to know from you, what have you picked up about the behavior of members of parliament? Because whether you like it or not, as impressive as they can be in how they ask the questions, they are still playing politics. Let me know your thoughts on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're going to be live at the Madlanga Commission. Once again, guys, we take you there live because I really think that there are important details that you need to know. I mean, the high-level stuff we have gotten. We've been told of criminal syndicates and interference, politicians that could be involved. But there are certain details that are coming out of the Madlanga Commission that are being revealed by the men and women in blue on the ground. People who have risked their lives to investigate this criminal syndicate. And there are key details that I really want us to keep a close eye on. So last week we took you live to the Madlanga Commission. We heard about the arrest of Katie Molefe last year and how there was interference from powerful forces. Well, today there are other police officers that are going to testify, and they're going to tell us about what happened when they arrested Katie Molefe this year. Remember when they found Kenny Kunene at the house? We're probably going to hear their side of the story because they've never really told us, the police, what happened when they found Kenny Kunene there. So will Kenny Kunene's story check out? We're going to find out today. So I want to take you live to the Madlanga Commission just after 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Listener's Choice feature. And given what we've heard from the Parliamentary Committee yesterday, from one of the Deputy Ministers of Police, Clement Manyathela, we're going to revisit a conversation we've had several times before about Deputy Ministers. What do they actually do when they don't have delegated powers yet? I mean, for a whole year, you've just earned 2.2 million rand doing what? You and I, my friends, are paying that 2.2 million rand for deputy ministers to do what exactly? That's why Action SA has actually proposed a private member's bill in Parliament to enact a constitutional amendment to do away with the position of deputy ministers, as they are clearly unnecessary. But the president disagrees because he's been asked this question before in Parliament. So that's what we're looking at 11 o'clock. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with the sharing space. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clement, it's to me here. My observation is that they're not consistent in terms of getting there. Sometimes some are coming late, some are leaving early. Depending on the witnesses, some are not coming. I think they're not really showing the respect to the public. Good morning.
Tabang from Cape Town. When it comes to the parliamentarian, when they ask questions to the people, what you're saying, I noticed it yesterday because the big question was, do we really need deputy ministers? Because the big question was, do we need them? And the resounding answer was, it looked like everyone was agreeing to say we don't need them. And then Dumiseni Ntuli came, and then the way he was asking the question was more like to say, to say we need the deputy ministers, because everyone was almost in agreement to say we don't need them because of how Clement Manyathela was saying he hasn't been given his duties yet because, for a whole year. So it was more like he wasn't doing anything. So I picked it up yesterday when it came to do we need deputy ministers?
Morning, Clement and the listeners. We are watching this politician, even the way they ask their questions. We are really watching them. Julius was not there during CB's time because we do understand he's the friend of CB. Yesterday also he was not there during his friend again. Is it Mantale or who, that guy? He was not there. We are really watching them. And we are also watching the way they ask the questions. We are really watching them, hey? We are. Mam Zota from Katlo.
Mam Zota. Keep watching them like a hawk. Koketso, you're calling from Johannesburg. What have you observed? Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Clement. I think, we shouldn't forget that when Kwanazi held that press conference, was it on the 6th of July? Because it feels like a lifetime ago. But when he held that press conference, he talked about how MPs are also implicated in this way, right? So I think, every single time we see various sectors of either the judiciary or parliament or the executive acting weirdly, we should actually ask ourselves those questions to say, are these some of the people that are not perhaps maybe implicated in this intricate web of criminality? So we need to, as Mam Zota was saying in her voice note, we need to watch these people very closely in terms of the type of questions they ask and how they interrogate and follow up on certain points, because that either shows you that they've been given marching orders by their party to not interrogate certain things in depth. Or or to either maybe interrogate something because the political point scoring. So I think this is very interesting, Clement. And for me, Bheki Cele's testimony was by far the most interesting one, because he then came and put for us the fact that the succession battle in the ANC is also playing itself out in this, right?
Yeah.
So in which way? The fact that someone needs to replace President Ramaphosa in the ANC. The fact that the elective conference is coming out. All of these moving pieces need to be understood together to say that this is why things are moving in the way in which they're moving in terms of all of the various government departments and also the parliamentarians. So it's really, really fascinating. For me, Bheki Cele's testimony was actually the best because he was very unfiltered and he spoke, covering various sectors where we didn't even think, in our minds that can the elective conference actually have bearing on this. Yeah. But we understood it to say, no, actually these people are now starting to fund their campaigns and they're using these benefactors and these tenderpreneurs of the ANC to do that. So that's another
interesting. And they've always done it for the longest time. Okay, so right, this is not the first time. For the longest time, that's how the ANC, we've had conversations even about how the ANC has funded itself over the years. Like for the longest time, you get comrades who get their friends or their family members, they inflate prices, and then the next thing, boom, that's why Fikile Mbalula, even the ANC has said, the issue of money in the elective conference is an issue. That's because things get inflated and then they fund them. But here's the thing, Koketso, before you go, we need to be careful not to make Bheki Cele a hero. I've tried to say this last week because, one listener even sent a voice note and say we need to give Bheki Cele his flowers. I was shocked. The fact that Bheki Cele came and exposed or spoke about things he wasn't even asked about for doesn't make him a hero, right? He went and slept at someone's house that he knew. Babita Deokaran is dead, Koketso. Can we have sympathy for that? At the very least, can you at least distance yourself from people that Babita Deokaran has flagged? The SIU have confirmed what Babita Deokaran has found. And as a politician, you are comfortable to go live in a luxury apartment of someone who is involved because you're saying, well, it's for free. I will take it because I'm sebenzi. That's ridiculous.
No, I agree 100% with you, Clement. And I found it interesting that he said the president also had a picture with this guy, right? A photo with this guy, which shows you how indeed this thing goes all the way to the top. And I think as the Madlanga Commission and the ad hoc commission the ad hoc committee keep on going, we're going to get deeper, as you say, to connect the dots between these various characters and how they're playing towards the ANC elective conference. So it will be very interesting times, I tell you.
It will be interesting. And by the way, when Bekele spoke about the picture that the president has with Ket Matlala, we haven't seen that picture. But the suspicion out there, even on social media, was that Bekele is confusing the picture where I am with the president, I, Clement. So there's a picture where I'm with the president on stage, right? Like the president we were gossiping about something. He was whispering something to me and I was shaking. I was holding his hand, right? And he was saying something to me in the ear. And someone took a video of that and then put it up on TikTok. So people, apparently me facing the president looks like I look like Ket Matlala. So many people, guys, this trended on TikTok and on Twitter. So many people think that is Ket Matlala with the president. But it is not, which is why Mbazima Chilowa actually tweeted 2 days ago and said, "Hey, Clement, Ket Matlala Manyathela." It was a joke. But I think Bekele is misplaced. He thinks that picture that has been trending of me and the president is actually Ket Matlala and the president, because apparently I look like Ket Matlala from my back. Apparently. Yeah. Can I look like somebody else, please? Not Ket. Please. Can I look like somebody else? I don't want to look like that guy. More of your calls after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Swiso.
Clement.
Do I look like Ket Matlala? You've seen my back when you walk into studio. Surely not.
I don't know, Clement. I don't know.
You're not helping. What's in the news?
Clement, thank you. The family of two Mamelodi women who were murdered say they will be buried in their home province of Limpopo. Baleseng and Siamo Moramacha were shot and left on the side of the road meters away from where they lived after a night out on Saturday. This morning, a 38-year-old man is believed to be the boyfriend of one of the women is appearing in the Mamelodi Magistrates Court. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi and National Assembly Speaker Thoko Didiza have relaunched the country's TB caucus to rally political support for the eradication of the disease. The Parliamentary caucus waned since its launch in 2018, and Motsoaledi says the relaunch is necessary to get MPs to once again play an active role in mobilizing their communities to get tested. And as Tanzania heads to the polls today, some critics say the country can expect voter apathy and possible stifling of opposition voices. The vote comes at a time when candidates from two main opposition parties have been disqualified, opposition gatherings have been banned, and government critics have been abducted, killed, or arrested. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on Komaro Street, this is in the Basonia area. We've got a major accident scene just near the N12 exit. As a result, the road has been closed off to traffic. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. While traveling on the M2 West, we've got delays. This is between Hardwick Road and Elof Street. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Bakru Interchange. Roadworks are taking place there. While traveling in Tembisa, more roadworks are causing delays between the R25 and Oliphants-Fontaine Road. They're causing about a 15-minute hold up there. So if you are leaving Kempton Park towards the city of Tshwane, please try to use the N1 North through Midrand and then turning off at the Brockfontein Interchange. I'll have more reports. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
What, in your opinion, needs to be done immediately by the National Police Commissioner, I suppose, by extension, the acting police minister, to help address this?
To enforce the current law, the Firearms Control Act of 2000, because it has been successful for some time. When it was implemented, it halved deaths from 34 to 18 in 2009. The government is also to tighten control over the legal guns themselves.
Dr. Dr. Stanley Maposa is the Executive Director of Gun Free South Africa.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Don't let high business insurance premiums drain your cash flow. Switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your premium. For plumbing, electrical, tradesmen services and other industries, OUTsurance Business Insurance are trusted experts in insuring your business. It's time to get more out of your business insurance. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed, insured and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
Hi, I'm Komodo, PG Glass Technician. At PG Glass, we keep your windscreen chip-free and crystal clear.
Choose PG Glass, quality you can trust. Visit pg.co.za.
Time. When you're a kid, it moves slower than a sloth trying to get through airport security. There is just so much of it. Skip forward a few years to your 20s. Time is still your friend. It says have some balance. Go party and have fun. Then your 30s hit. And time suddenly steps on the accelerator like it's trying to catch a traffic light before it goes red. 40s. Now time is moving faster than your 10-year-old on a sugar high. 50. You're desperately trying to save as much as you can, but time is moving so fast. And all you can think is, where did all the time go? That's why after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money, and then money gives you more time for some much-deserved you time. Now, isn't that a compelling enough reason to invest? Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Sometimes the clearest view comes from who's faced the darkest storms. Today, on the afternoon drive with John Perlman, we'll hear how breast cancer survivor and head of outreach at Holy Rosary School, Yvette Bibis, is using her story to shine a light on the importance of access to reading glasses and how the Discam Foundation is helping share that message far and wide. That's today on the afternoon drive with John Perlman. Remember, every swipe of your Discam Better Rewards card supports this and other inspiring community stories. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts on 702.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. We continue with your calls on 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line is 072 702 1702. I've been asking you what your observations have been around the behavior of members of parliament and also the kind of questions that they ask. Because, I love details like that. Like, I love watching how people answer questions, how they respond to questions, what their demeanor, their posture is like, what questions are they asking the most, because that really tells me the bigger picture. And I've made my own observations about whether it's Julius Malema. I'm convinced that he has been recusing himself, but he just doesn't want to say it. If you believe differently, let me know. I mean, it's questionable to me that Shadrach Sibiya has been placed at the center of the allegations made by Mkhwanazi, one of the people, that are at the center. And on the day when you have to cross-examine him, suddenly you're not there in parliament, Julius? And then we hear from the Madlanga Commission that Julius may be close to Shadrach. And then yesterday, on the day that Castle Matale is giving his testimony and being cross-examined, he's not there. And then he goes and tweets. Someone sent me a tweet of Julius, a tweet that he put up yesterday. Let me try find it for you. He tweeted that Tumushubi Matale, we know, highly principled and articulate. And I played you a clip when Julius was on Anele's show on 947, where he says Castle Matale is like a father figure to me. So clearly, at least to me, it appears like he's recusing himself because he doesn't want to be caught in an awkward situation. But it's not just that you observe, right? You look at how Mdumiseni Ntuli or Kusela Diko, how they ask certain questions, or in fact, someone else on Twitter says, Buti on Twitter says, Clement, what I picked up is that Mdumiseni Ntuli and Kusela, they somewhat do the re-examination-like kind of approach, similar to court proceedings when dealing with their party members, but they do it so subtly that most of us are unable to pick it up. They all have taken sides. And that's what we must always remember here. These are politicians at the end of the day. I still give them credit for asking important questions, because I think we get more robust accountability kind of questions coming from this parliamentary inquiry than you are from the Madlanga Commission. And maybe phase 2 of the Madlanga Commission will take a different posture. But so far, I mean, they're leading evidence. But in Parliament, when the members of Parliament are asking questions, yeah, they have been good. Like the ANC guy, Mr. Ola Ngola has been great. I thought has been a bit consistent, but you can tell that his tone started normalizing. I mean, with Shadrach Sibiya, he was shouting. And then Bheki Cele comes and Senzo Mchunu comes, and then he still asks important questions, but in a calmer tone. Yeah? And then you hear Glenys Breitenberg and how she asks questions to Shadrach Sibiya and Senzo Mchunu that are meant to sort of question the behavior of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi on that day when he held a press conference on the 6th of July. They don't make it obvious, but you have to pay very, very, very close attention for you to pick up what's going on here. Here are some WhatsApp voice notes that have come on 072 702 1702.
Morning, Madimeja Mwagui and Jovek. On the issue of Parliament ad hoc committee and those parliamentarians on their selective, whom they must question, who they mustn't question, of which is wrong. We can't say Julius has commitment. No, he didn't have commitment. He knew Matali is his friends, his comrades. They have their own shenanigans. So he didn't want to be exposed on that. So, like on the issue of Shadrach Sibiya, he was not there. There was no commitment. Even yesterday, there was no commitment. So we can't say there's commitment. Huh? Why didn't he have commitment when there's Masemola or Mkhwanazi? It's just a selective propaganda thing. So it's just selective. Oh, today's my friend, I'm not going. So, of which is not good. Mwagui and Jobek, have a great one.
Morning, Clement, to your crew there, and morning to everyone else who's listening. You know, Clement, thank you for that thesis on the proceedings in Parliament. You're so right. I think members there are taking a rather partisan approach on matters, depending on whom they are dealing with. Also, the Julius one is more thought-provoking because his availability there, it also depends on who's appearing. And I think the difference between the two proceedings in what's happening in at the committee and also at the Madlanga Commission, I think the latter has a more, or rather takes a more technical and judicial approach. Whereas in Parliament, everything just goes and you have different minds being applied on matters. So I think, that's the difference.
Hi, Clement. Clement. On the serious note, I think with regard to Bheki Cele, it seems we love charismatic leaders. If you don't have good charisma, Clement, live like a politician, David.
So you need charisma. Yeah, and maybe Bheki Cele was that, but is he a hero? I don't know about that. Lanzeni on Twitter says, Clement, we can't say for sure that Bheki Cele was referring to the same picture that trended. We're talking about a senior ANC member who was a minister of police. He can be referring to a different picture, so let's not be quick to dismiss him. Yes, and Lanzeni, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not dismissing what Cele is saying. That's why I said earlier, maybe he's referring to another picture. But what I saw is the assumption people made. Even some members of parliament, is the assumption people made was he is referring to a picture that's on social media. And even Bheki Cele said, I don't know if you've seen the picture that's doing the round, the picture that's out there. So the suggestion from Bheki Cele was that there is a picture already doing the rounds on social media where you see the president with cat. Have you seen that picture? I mean, if it's doing the rounds on social media, surely one of us, between all of you listening to me this morning and myself and everybody in the studio, at least one of us has seen that. But no, we haven't. So the assumption then is he's probably mistaken to refer to the picture that people think it's Cat Matlala, but it's not. So again, maybe he is referring to a different picture. And maybe that picture is going to emerge. We can wait and see. But so far, we haven't seen anything. And he suggested that the picture he's referencing is already out there in public. And that's not a picture that we've seen. And then someone else on Twitter, where's that? Hey, Clement, we must always remember that politicians are always going to be politicians. So when they ask these questions, they are doing it for their own political expediency. Oh, absolutely. There's no question about that. That's why I said, in Parliament, there are caucuses. Like caucuses, that's where you get told what you are going to do. That's why you have a chief whip. A chief whip's responsibility is to get you to follow the line. Part of their responsibilities. So in the caucus, before any motion of no confidence is debated, before any budget gets passed, before any important event that happens in Parliament, caucuses normally meet. Sometimes you've got the president of the ANC coming to address, or the chairperson of the ANC, or the SG, mostly the SG of the ANC, coming to address a caucus. Why? Because it's important for members of Parliament to know this is the line. This is what you are expected to do. So you think with the parliamentary inquiry, parties have not taken postures on which side they are on and what approach they are going to take in this ad hoc committee? Oh no, they have. And I'm saying if you pay very close attention to all of them asking questions, if you pay close attention even to Ashley Sauls from the Patriotic Alliance, you can pick up who is for the political killing trust team's disbandment and who is against the decision to disband. And when you pick up that maybe Ashley Sauls' position is more against the PKTT and he supports the disbandment of the PKTT, then you must ask yourself questions. Why would he do that? And how you get to that answer is connect the dots. Which party does he come from? Patriotic Alliance. Who's the deputy president of the Patriotic Alliance? Kenny Kunene. Who's associated with Kenny Kunene? His friend, Serge Kabonge and Malcolm X. Both of whom, by the way, are friends with top cops. Malcolm X told me on this show he's close friends with Godfrey Libya, head of the Hawks, who's now retired. Serge Kabonge came on this show and told me he's friends with Shadrach Sibiya, the suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner. Who is Serge Kabonge connected to? Serge Kabonge is connected to Ket Matlala. In fact, on the night that Ket Matlala's ex-girlfriend was nearly murdered, she had just met with Serge Kabonge. The allegation she makes to the police is that Serge Kabonge is the one who gave Ket Matlala information about her whereabouts. Then Matlala sent the people to go try to take her out. Why did they try to take her out? Because apparently she knows that she made an allegation to the police that Ket Matlala is the one who's involved in the Babita Deokaran's murder. So it's important to always try and connect these dots, because any posture position people are taking, I bet you, if you watch closely and you connect the dots, you understand why they take a position that they're taking.
Madimej, I wouldn't have agreed with you more. I couldn't agree with you more with regards to the issue of celebrating Begele as a hero. I was telling someone close to me who felt like, no, he did well. And I said, yeah, the fact that one thing I think that what he did well, he went there and told himself that he's not going to deny anything that he couldn't hide. Had he slept at Ket's place and nobody knew about it, I don't think he was going to tell us. But because he knew that if he was to try and say, I didn't go, he wouldn't have been able to stand, the test. So, yeah, he's not a hero. I mean, this is the guy when he was still a commissioner. There was a tender in Pretoria. Actually, that's why I think he was removed as a commissioner before he became a minister. So Begele, not a hero at all. If anything, is the opposite.
Good morning, Clement. I think Julius Malema is right not to attend when it's his friend who's being questioned, because he doesn't want to play with people's minds. It's easy for him. If people forces him to attend, he will attend. But before he attend, he will speak to his friend. They'll discuss which questions are appropriate for me to ask you. Then together they come up with the right question that they want to ask each other. Then he will attend and only ask him that. What are people going to do? By not attending, at least he's respecting us.
Good morning, Clement. I wonder if you did see Ashley Souls when he was questioning the National Commissioner, Fanny Masemola. He went on and on and on, accusing the National Commissioner of claiming that Kunene was there twice when he was only there once. I mean, he took a long time sitting on that point and say, please admit and say that you only know that he went there once and the rest of the times is just allegations. He didn't have any question. He just wanted to protect his party, these party members. Now, Penny from Forward.
Thank you, Ma'am Penny. Sia on Twitter also says, Clement, you omitted Action SA's MP, Darlene, who has been asking tough questions, and she was particularly tough on Senzo Mkhuni when she asked if they can check his phone. Won't they find chats, conversations, calls with members of drug cartels? Yeah, Sia, I'm asking you to tell me what you've observed. I've told you just what my limited observations of me have been, so I want you to tell me what you've observed. And someone also sent a voice note saying Julius Malema was right to recuse himself. I see Bazima Shilowa has tweeted me also, who agrees with that voice note and says, Clement, Juju is right to absent himself, unlike Diane Kohler Barnard. Not sure what Glenys Breitenberg hoped to achieve with the issue of the Limpopo province under administration. So I don't think particularly that it is wrong for Julius Malema to recuse himself if that's what he's done. But I would have loved for a bit of transparency. What's wrong with Julius saying to the chair of the portfolio committee, Soviet Lekhanyani, Chair, I will not be available when Shadrach Sibia is being cross-examined because I have a relationship with him, if that's the case. Or, Chair, I will not be available when Kasel Matali comes here and testifies and we have to ask him questions because he is like my father, and I think I'm going to be in a compromised position. Why do you not say that? Because it's almost like, oh, I just got busy on the day. No, man, come on. And I think that level of transparency is important because it's not. This doesn't mean Julius Malema has done anything wrong. He hasn't, right? So what's wrong with saying, I don't think I want to be the one that sits there with Shadrach Sibia or with Kasel Matali because I'm caught in an awkward position? Kabelo, you're calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Clement. I think you stole my shine there. You are
What did I do?
Look, ordinarily, when you are conflicted, you recuse yourself from the proceeding. So how do you do it? You formalize it. And like you just rightfully said,
absolutely,
you speak to the chairperson to say, Chairperson, look, I am conflicted, and we know the relationship that he has with Castle, understandably so. And to say, Chairperson, look, I have a relationship with this person, I think I will be compromised. And such, let me recuse myself from the proceeding. I think that's all that he needed to do. But not come up with stories that I'm not available, I think he shouldn't have done that. But to come forward and be transparent. So that's what I think he should have done.
I agree with you, Kabelo. Absolutely. Thank you for your call. And I'm sorry for stealing your shine. I didn't know that's the point you're going to want to make. But I absolutely agree with you. Formalize it. Very easy. You've got nothing to hide. You've got nothing to hide. I do. In fact, I think this is a noble thing to do. It's a noble thing to do, to be able to say, I'm close to this person who's going to be testifying, and I don't want to be in a position where it's awkward now. Let me recuse myself. Formalize it, though, because when you just suddenly are absent, it's just weird. And then you go tweet about how credible and truthful or whatever the person is. It's just weird.
Dumela Clement, thanks for opening my eyes about the line of questioning there from the parliamentarians. And then with regards to Malema, he was absent during Shadrach CBI questioning. I thought maybe he's got some commitments, but now with Clement Manyathela, that's when I became suspicious. I think in 2011, there was allegations of corruption between Clement Manyathela and Julius Malema there in Limpopo. But I stand to be corrected. This is Tabiso from Midday.
Hi, Clement. You see, on the issue of whether or not Julius was recusing himself and whether or not that recusal was correct, the problem is that at a later stage, the group or the members will come together to discuss the report. So if Julius is not transparent that I am not coming because I've got a relationship with X, Y, and Z, is he going to sit in those meetings which are discussing everything and everyone when they're compiling a report? Or is he going to recuse himself silently again? Because this thing doesn't end with the interviews. At some point, they're going to have a meeting and they'll deliberate over what happened in the interviews. My name is Sillo. I'm in Centurion.
Sillo, that's precisely the point. There are going to be deliberations. So what happens? Are we just going to see Julius recusing himself from those deliberations or what? Transparency is very important. It's very, very important. And in this case, as noble as his act is or may be seen to be, formalize it. Tell the committee or tell South Africans. Write to the chair and say, Chair, I know this chap. I had dinner with him 2 weeks ago. Therefore, and we are friends. I've been to his house. He's been to my house. Therefore, I feel like I need to recuse myself because I don't think I'll be too objective when I ask them questions. And then at least we know, right? But now every time there's a witness that you may be close to or you are related to, then what? You're not coming to work, but you're not saying why. But when there are other witnesses who come, Bosenzo Mkunu or the others who sit there, you are asking them robust questions. I mean, when we celebrating Julius? When was it? Last week? Remember last week I was telling you about how impressed I was about some of the members of parliament, the MK guy, Shongwe, the ANC guy, Kola, Julius Malema, Action SA's MP. Like, I was telling you of how those are some of the MPs that I thought were asking some really critical questions in parliament. And you guys mentioned others too. So when there are other people who come to parliament to testify, you ask robust questions. And when others come, you don't come to parliament. It's a selective participation, but you haven't told anybody because the chairperson hasn't said anything unless they've decided to keep it secret. But nobody just knows why you're not in parliament. We have to assume that, maybe it's because we were told he may be close to Shadrach Sibia. Oh, maybe it's because Clement Manyathela is his father figure. Be transparent.
Good morning, Clement. I have to agree with you on this one. Transparency over honesty anytime. Transparency over honesty anytime. It wouldn't matter when he comes back and try to explain to us that he was being honest. He wanted to stay away from conflicting issues and all. But had he been transparent from the get-go, then there wouldn't be any confusion as to why he had to recuse himself.
Good day, Clem. Yes, I understand the issue with regards to the Clement Manyathela one, that he could have recused himself. But yet, on the other hand, as far as the crime intelligence guy, Sibia, if he recused himself, they say, on what grounds? By association, which down the line may be like an admission of guilt.
Part of the 702 family.
I'm the Woho from Haramkua. So I used to listen to 702 when I was still a little kid in Haramkua, where the studios used to be. So we used to ride up the mountain to go have a look at the studios from outside. Now, 40 years later, I get to see the studios inside in Johannesburg.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
Prime Media, South Africa's most trusted media group, presents Prime Impact, a free 1-hour business seminar running daily at the Prime Media offices in Sandton from the 3rd to the 7th of November. Learn how radio and digital can reach your target market and grow your business with more customers. Every registered business receives a tailored demo ad and a simple campaign plan, plus access to event-only package opportunities. Seats are limited. Secure your spot now. Register at primeimpact.co.za. That's primeimpact.co.za.
Live extra with Checkers, SA's #1 in value supermarket. Save big on deals like Sir Fruit 100% fruit juice blend, 1.5 litres, any 2 for 89 Rand. Clover Butro full cream modified butter spread, 500 grams, 2 for 159 Rand. And Omo detergent capsules, 20 or 22 per pack, any 2 for 199 Rand. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Lock into roaring rugby action this season with Hollywood Bets. Bet 50 Rand or more on any Vodacom United Rugby Championship fixture, and you could win a share of 300,000 Rand in cash, betting vouchers, or prizes. This includes Smeg bar fridges, macro vouchers, a Sharks captain run, or a player circle experience. Only the toughest team will prevail. Bet now and let the rugby rumble begin.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
This week, 702 is in conversation with Auto & General. We'll be talking about Auto & General's events liability insurance. It's the insurance for event managers, organizers, and exhibitors, protecting them if something goes wrong. Whether you are organizing a once-off celebration or a series of events, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. 702 in conversation with Auto & General this Thursday on 702 Drive with John Pellman. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurance FSP. T's and C's online. It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. We start with news just in. 7 people have died in a crash in Pasonia, south of Johannesburg this morning. Metro police officers say a taxi and a bakkie collided on Komoro Road. JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla says the victims who died were passengers from the taxi. Fihla says emergency services are currently at the scene.
Multiple injuries have been reported, with 7 fatalities confirmed from the minibus taxi, and Komoro Road is blocked off to traffic in both directions.
In the capital, the family of 2 Mamelodi women who were murdered say they will be buried in their home province of Limpopo. Baleseng and Siamo Moramaga were shot and left on the side of the road meters away from where they live on Sunday after a night out. This morning, a 38-year-old man believed to be the boyfriend of one of the women will appear in the Mamelodi Magistrates Court. Community members and political parties have gathered outside ahead of proceedings. We cross now live to Khomotso Modise, who's also there. Khomotso, there's overwhelming support for the family.
Oh, absolutely, Spisa. I can tell you that different members of the different political parties have been singing together here, really chanting and calling for justice for Tiamo and Baleseng. Joining me is a man who's come here from work to come and join this protest at Tamba Sabata. You left your office to come here. Why?
Good day. I came here today in support of the families as well as the victims who have fallen victim to a man. As a man myself, I'm very much disturbed about what has happened, and I'm trying to become a part of what is currently happening so that we can be a change. In the community of Mamelodi, we've become accustomed and become used to these violent occurrences. So I'm just here in support of the whole happening.
So I can tell you that inside the court, there are a number of people that are waiting anxiously. This includes some community members from Mamelodi East waiting to see the suspect make his first appearance any moment now. Thomas Amodise, Eyewitness News reporting live from the Mamelodi Magistrates Court.
The inquiry into Truth and Reconciliation Commission cases says it doesn't expect any delays on the start of the first public hearings next month. There are concerns about a lack of cooperation from government departments and agencies. President Cyril Ramaphosa set up the inquiry to investigate allegations of interference and efforts to stop the prosecution of TRC cases. Evidence leaders say they have received an underwhelming response to requests for information from some government departments. TRC Cases Inquiry spokesperson Lionel Adendorf.
The TRC Cases Inquiry continues to call on all those who can help us with our terms of reference to provide us with information and documents in their possession. Our commissioners,
Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi and National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza have relaunched the country's TB caucus to rally political support for the eradication of the disease. The Parliamentary caucus waned since its launch in 2018, and Motsoaledi says the relaunch is necessary to get MPs to once again play an active role in mobilizing their communities to get tested. The Health Department aims to test 5 million people a year as it also prepares for the introduction of a new vaccine to prevent the disease. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says parliamentarians need to be a bridge to their communities to reduce stigma, encourage early testing and provide support and guidance if government is to be successful in reaching its testing target. Motsoaledi says while new cases of TB have declined over the last 10 years, it's still affecting hundreds of thousands each year, with HIV patients accounting for 54% of the TB population. Motsoaledi says trials for the new M72 vaccine in 7 countries, with the biggest testing site in South Africa, will pave the way for a switch in prevention.
And we believe by 2028, the trials will be over and we'll start rolling it out. That is our hope. Only then can we safely say we are bringing an end to TB.
Motsoaledi says TB will feature prominently at discussions of the G20 Health Ministers meeting in Polokwane next month. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And as Tanzania heads to the polls today, some critics say the country can expect voter apathy and possible stifling of opposition voices. The vote comes at a time when candidates from the 2 main opposition parties have been disqualified, opposition gatherings have been banned, the government critics have been abducted, killed or arrested. Analysts say President Samia Suluhu Hassan is determined to cement her position with a victory that will silence critics within her party. More than 37 million people are eligible to vote, and this election encompasses separate votes for presidents, MPs and local politicians. Gold is trading at $3,977.36 an ounce. The rand is at 17.13 to the dollar, 22.66 to the pound, 19.92 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.47 a barrel.
And in the traffic, as you heard on Eyewitness News, Komara Street in Basonia has been closed off to traffic. That's due to an earlier massive accident along this route near the N12 exit. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. If you're traveling in Woodmead, we've got an accident scene along the N1 South. It's right near Rivonia Road, causing heavy delays, about a 15-minute hold-up as you come out of the Baklu interchange.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: 7 people have died in a crash in Basonia, south of Johannesburg this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for your contribution on the 702 open line. I want to take you straight to the Madlanga Commission because there's a witness who's testifying there. In fact, this is a former member of the political killing task team. His name is Captain Maxwell Wanda. He is on the hot seat, testifying and talking about how concerned they were as members of the political killing task team when they were at KT Molefe's house to arrest him. And there were members of the Hawks that arrived and interrupted the scene. He says that the members of the Hawks were carrying big guns. There were many of them, and they were aggressive. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why would members of the Hawks go and try and interrupt an arrest being made by the SAPS? Well, Malcolm X is the one, the businessman or super consultant, Malcolm X, whom we've spoken to on the show. Go check out the podcast if you missed it. He told us that he called the head of the Hawks, Godfrey Lebeya at the time, and said, yo, there are people here trying to arrest KT Molefe. Can you make a plan, send a team or something? But he told Godfrey Lebeya that there are people trying to arrest KT Molefe who claim to be members of the Hawks. That's what he said. Godfrey Lebeya also was on this show. We interviewed him. And he said the reason he sent these Hawks members to KT Molefe's house when he was being arrested is because he was concerned that there may be people impersonating Hawks officers. I must say, that story doesn't check out for me, by the way. So he sent, if Godfrey Lebeya really was concerned about that, why did he send so many members of the Hawks carrying big guns for people who may be impersonating Hawks officers? And he did that after he received a call from Malcolm X. Malcolm X, who has admitted that he's got a relationship of sorts with Godfrey Lebeya. So now this witness, as I take you there live, has been talking about how, as the members of the political killing task team were trying to effect this arrest, members of the Hawks came, and there nearly was a bit of a confrontation there. Let's take you live to the commission.
Just looking at when they arrive, what is it in the scene that would have told them before you explain? Why should they have known that this was a legitimate operation? Were people in uniform? Your people, were they in uniform? What are the indicators to the Hawks that this is a legitimate operation?
Commissioner, the members of the combat, which included from TRT or NIU, at that stage they were wearing the bulletproofs, which were clearly marked SAPS. So that would be an indication to them that or else to trigger them, this might be possible police officers.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mube.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy.
Let me ask you, the Hawks are part of SAPS, correct?
That is correct.
And you would think that whether you call it a division or a unit within SAPS,
yes,
they should be able to identify other SAPS units when they see them.
That's correct.
I, as a lay person, may not be able to do that because I could suspect that, it is fake, or you're using equipment that does not belong to you, or uniform that does not belong to you. But I would expect somebody within SAPS to know that the next person is a SAPS official.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. You mentioned that there were members of the Hawks and you were able to identify them from the T-shirts with the Hawks emblem. How many, if you were to estimate, how many were there?
To me, Commissioner, if I cannot be exactly, I can be able to say the exact number, but there were between 6 and 8 members, between 6 and 8.
And then you also mentioned that there were members that had civilian clothing on. How were you able to identify them as being Hawks members if they were in civilian clothing?
For those who were on civilian clothing, it was difficult for me to say were they members of the Hawks or not. That's why I regarded them as a civilian, because they were on civilian clothing.
But you say, Captain, in paragraph 12, in the light of your answer, look at your paragraph 12, what you say about 3 people in civilian clothing. You say they were with individuals in Hawks t-shirts. You see where I'm reading?
Yes.
You say there were approximately 3 people who were in civilian clothing but were with Hawks were with the individuals in the Hawks t-shirts.
That's correct.
Yes. What are you saying about those 3 people? That you consider them to be members of the Hawks, or anyway civilians who happen to be around Hawks?
Well, I'm not too sure. Even on that time, I was not too sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Because they didn't identify themselves to me.
But you also say that you observed 2 or 3 vehicles with the Hawks emblem.
That is correct, Commissioner.
So not even that gave you to understand that some of the people would be Hawks members?
No, that gave me an indication, Commissioner, that these are Hawks members.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
And these people that you identify as Hawks, the ones in t-shirts and anyone else, were they armed?
No, I couldn't see any of them carrying an arm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. You then say in paragraph 13 of your statement that you were approached by a white male at the gate who identified himself as Captain Kruger. Can you tell us about that interaction?
Oh, Commissioner, while I was there on the gate, amongst that group of members who were wearing golf t-shirts, and there was another white male who identified himself as Captain Kruger, but he was in a civilian clothing. And I also identified myself to him. But he was having, if not a diary, it was a notebook. And then he asked for my particulars, and I gave him my particulars, and he recorded on that time.
Did you tell him that you were from the PKTT?
That is correct.
Okay. And
although you referred to it as the National Task Team, I think you say, or not? Or am I mistaken? Maybe I'm mistaken.
No, you're correct, Chair. Yes, you're correct.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
You refer to it as the National Task Team.
Yes, that's correct.
And you were still dealing with the engagement with Captain Kruger. Can I ask you to look at paragraph 14 of your statement on page 4? Do you have it?
That is correct.
Okay. You speak about that you introduced yourself to Captain Kruger, and you speak about something that happened while you were talking to him on page 5. Can you tell us about what happened while you were engaging with Captain Kruger?
While I was still talking to Captain Kruger, there's some individual of the Hawks, they came chipping in, asking questions, but I heard a noise that sounded to be the helicopter when I got distracted as well. And then when I looked, it was a helicopter of which I cannot confirm whether it was a SAPS helicopter or not. But it flew about in few circles, and also it flew away.
And this happened while you were still speaking to Captain Kruger?
That is correct.
Okay. Were you able to establish what the helicopter was doing in the vicinity?
At that time, I could not establish. I was not sure whether the helicopter was part of the Hawks, or it was from the flying police flying division. Also, so it was uncertain to me which one is which.
Okay, and then you, still in the same paragraph 14 on page 5, you say that you were joined by other members from your team while you were engaging with Captain Kruger. Can you just tell us about that?
Commissioner, while I was still there with Captain Kruger, also asking questions about the operation and any papers that allows us to execute that operation. I was also joined by Witness A, as well with other members who were involved in that operation as well. But the Witness A just gave an explanation. He took it further, giving explanation about the J50, which is warrant of arrest, of which the members of the Hawks, they wanted the copy, but Witness A took them further as well, that what is going to happen, but he showed them a copy of that J50.
And you also say in your statement that they asked for additional information regarding the operation. What was Witness A's response to that?
Commissioner, Witness A, his response was due to the nature and the sensitivity of the case, he cannot divulge any information to them because the matter is still under investigation.
Advocate Ngube, just a moment. Captain, you say you introduced yourself to Captain Kruger. I have difficulty with that because police officers don't just introduce themselves, they present credentials. Did you just say, oh, I'm Captain Wanda, I'm with PKTT? I'm assuming that there's some form of identification that you would have produced to show that you belong to a particular division or unit.
No, Commissioner, when Captain Kruger asked who I am, he first introduced himself as Captain Kruger from the Hawks, but he didn't show me his identity, which is a police card. Yes. And I also introduced myself as well, because he asked me, who are you? I'm Captain Wanda from the National Task Team, PKTT, which is based in Durban. And but I also didn't show him my police card identity because he didn't ask about it. And then he was satisfied about that. And he further asked who is our project coordinator. I tell him that we are project coordinator is Lieutenant General Khumalo, of which that sat well to him as well with other members because they started to calm down as soon as I mentioned the name of Lieutenant General Khumalo. Then they started to connect the dots now that no, this might be real, this must be genuine. It can't be the bogus police officers who can maybe know about the high-ranking officer.
Thank you, Commissioner Khumalo. Captain Wanda, did the members of the Hawks tell you why they were there on the scene?
Yes, they did, Commissioner.
What did they tell you?
What they said they received or they were given an information that there are persons in that particular address who are impersonating to be police officers or to be caucus of police officers. So that is how they got activated.
And they were activated to do what?
To me, it can be two. It's either to come and confirm whether those are real policemen or to stop the operation.
Did they tell you why they were activated to come to the scene?
The commissioner is the reason they said they came to the operations because they were misinformed that there's an illegal operation with the possible bogus police officers that is taking place in that particular address.
And so were they there to verify if the operation was legitimate?
After the explanation from myself and witness A, and then they believed that the operation was legitimate.
Well, my question is a different one. When you were engaging with the members of the Hawks, did they tell you that they were there to verify that the operation was legitimate?
That was after, towards the end of the engagement, because when the engagement started, they were demanding answers.
And you suggest that there was an easier way for them to establish what they wanted to establish. And what do you say that was? That is towards the end of paragraph 15 of your statement.
Commissioner, in such an incident, if you've got a suspicion of illegal activity that happens within or at a specific address, a local police station policing that area is activated to go and verify and confirm whether what is happening, is it real or is it not real. But I would expect the members of the police in uniform, marked vehicles, to come and speak to us about the whole operation.
I'm not sure I follow that.
Yes.
Is there anything wrong with, say, other subs members, the Hawks, going to verify even if they are outside of the local police station? Is there anything legally wrong with that?
Well, Commissioner, they are the members of the South African Police Services at the end of the day. I'm not too sure how the message came to them, but they had to go there and verify and check. But on my surprise is the manner on which they came and their behavior.
Let me ask the question again.
Yes.
Would it be unlawful for other subs members who do not belong to the local police station to go to the address to do the verification?
No, it won't be unlawful, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Captain, you say after you said this is an operation that is falls under Lieutenant General Khumalo, and he seemed to accept that and that it is a legitimate operation. Before that point, had Captain Kruger requested proof of identification that the people there are SAPS members?
No, Commissioner, he didn't ask the proof of identity.
Thank you. And second question, before the Hawks arrived on the scene, and it's just your team, and when I say your team, I mean everyone, including the investigating officer team, were there SAPS marked vehicles? with the lot that was there before the Hawks arrived?
No, Commissioner, there were
no marked vehicles.
There was no marked vehicles, yes. Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. If we can go to, still on page 5 at paragraph 16, you have in fact dealt with this where you deal with the information that was requested by the Hawks members from witness A, and you say that he refused to disclose that information. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Then can we go to page 6 at paragraph 17? You deal with an incident while you were talking to Captain Kruger of somebody approaching you. Can you tell us what happened?
Okay, Commissioner, while I was still talking to Captain Kruger, interacting, a certain African male who was wearing a civilian clothing approached me and gave me a cell phone, of which it was on. But on the other side of that cell phone, there was a certain person who who identified to me as a brigadier. And he mentioned his name and surname, but I couldn't capture on that particular time. The only thing I concentrated, that was a brigadier, and it's a high-ranking officer, of which I had to show respect and listen to him, what he was saying. And the brigadier, he says no, he would like to apologize on behalf of the members of the Hawks, because they were given a wrong information, but he is in the office of the Lieutenant General Libya, but they are at Limpopo attending the Police Excellence Awards in that particular time. And then he further switched on the cell phone on video, of which he panned it sideways, and I could see the police officers in blue and the setup of the background of that area. That no, the brigadier is really in that specific functions for the awards. And then after I ended the call, I gave it back to that specific individual of whom we look as a civilian to me, and then the call ended there. And then, but Captain Kruger was just there next to me. He could listen because I didn't move. I just stood next to him while I was on the phone.
Thank you, Captain. If I can just take you back to the identity of the unknown African male. You say you don't recall if he identified himself to you or if you just don't remember his name. During the preparation of your evidence, I indicated to you that there's another witness that will be giving evidence, Captain Kruger, who had taken certain photographs on the scene on the day of various people that were on the scene. I had shown you some of the photographs, and you indicated to me that one of the individuals on that photograph is the person that you believe was the person that gave you the cell phone on that day. I'm going to ask you now if you can go to section 3, which is the statement of Captain Kruger, and if you can go to annexure B5 on page BK5 on page 21.
You must please remark these, Ms. Ngube, because I see in the statement they are referred to as BK.
Yes.
All right, so that is Captain Maxwell Wanda, who is a former member of the Political Killings Task Team, and he is currently testifying about the time when they went to arrest Katie Molefe, who, by the way, if you remember, is out on bail. And he explains that when they were were 8 members of the Hawks who arrived. They were there to question the legitimacy of that operation, the arrest of Katie Molefe. And he's indicated that there was a high-ranking officer as well, who was there on the scene, who had apologized. I think, did he mention Godfrey Libya on the phone? So they gave him a phone to speak to someone who was at the awards, and the high-ranking police official apologized to them and said, "Oh, sorry that we sent the Hawks people there to your operation as the SAPS. We were given the wrong information." Who gave them the wrong information? Who is the person that Godfrey Libya told us called him and said there are people arresting Katie Molefe who may be impersonating police officers? Malcolm X. He's confirmed it himself. And I wonder if Godfrey Libya, the former head of the Hawks, is going to go to the commission, I wonder if he's going to say to the commissioners that Malcolm X gave them the wrong information. And if he's going to do that, I hope they can bring Malcolm X to that commission so that he can explain why he gave the Hawks head information, wrong information, so that he can send a whole 8 members of the Hawks to go and interrupt an operation that was being led by the SAPS to arrest what seemingly is this powerful man called Katie Molefe. If this doesn't prove to you how powerful Katie Molefe is and how connected clearly him and Malcolm X are, I don't know what else will. It's 10:33. When we come back, we'll take you back to the Madlanga Commission. Let's first hear what's in the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is currently hearing testimony from a police officer who was part of the team that arrested alleged criminal Katiso Katie Molefe. Captain Maxwell Wanda, a former member of the Political Killings Task Team, is the first witness today to take the stand. Wanda is sharing more information about Molefe's arrest in connection with the murder of Armand Swart, an engineer whose company uncovered corruption in a Transnet tender awarded to Molefe's nephew. 7 people have died in a crash in Besonia, south of Johannesburg this morning. Metro police officers say a taxi and a bakkie collided on Kamara Road. JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla says the victims who died were passengers from the taxi. And EFF and MK Party in Parliament have rejected 2 of the nominees approved for reappointment as commissioners of the IEC, claiming that other capable candidates were ignored. The National Assembly yesterday approved the nominations of current IEC chairperson Mosotho Mpia, current commissioner Judge Daya Pillay, and newcomer Joyce Pitso for the recommendation to the president. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, as you heard on Eyewitness News, Komara Street in Besonia remains closed off to traffic following that fatal accident. Please try to avoid this route at all costs. If you are traveling on the M2 West, do expect delays heading towards Amalgam. There's queuing traffic there. This is between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. While traveling on the N3 South, we've got delays between the Gilulis Interchange and Van Buren Road. An accident reported there. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North in the Kelvin area between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu Interchange. That's due to the roadworks that are taking place along this route. And that accident we spoke about earlier in Woodmead along the N1 South has been cleared. It was right near Rivonia Road, but traffic remains a bit slow just as you approach Rivonia Road turnoff. Traveling in Sharon Lee, some delays on Malibongwe Drive approaching President Foshe Road. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care and expect about a 10-minute hold up. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Summer is about rewarding yourself with oceanic views, sizzling braais, and so much more. Earn your share of 120 million rand in real cashback, depending on your rewards tier, when you pay with your Absa Visa card. Plus, enter the Absa Swiper competition and stand a chance to win 1 of 10 cars. This summer could be the best you've had in years. Your story matters. Absa, T's and C's apply. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider.
Before a masterpiece takes shape, there's a single line that starts it all, until every curve and every angle reflects the clarity of a single vision. And only then does inspiration take its final form. The all-new Audi A5, designed to inspire. Starting from $14,499 per month with a guaranteed future value. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest dealer for more. T's and C's apply.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
7:02.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock, we have been listening to the testimony of Captain Maxwell Wanda at the Madlanga Commission, who's a former member of the Political Killings Task Team. He's one of the captains that were at KT Molefa's house when he was arrested, and there was an interruption from the Hawks. So let's take you back as he continues his testimony.
Did he tell you?
When he said that, he said, Captain, we are not around in Gauteng. Let me show you the video because we are attending the SAPS Police Excellence Awards in Limpopo. That is where he switched it on the video call and then pan it around just to show me the background and the activity of that particular day.
Thank you, Captain. Now, at paragraph 20 of your statement, you say that after your call, the members of the Hawks left. When you were speaking to Brigadier Mokoena, did he indicate to you that he would instruct his guys to leave, or were they already in the process of leaving while you were on the phone with him?
After that, Commissioner, they just left. I'm not too sure whether there was an indication from their side that they must leave or not, but they just quietly left.
Okay, and was that everyone that was from the Hawks, so the entire contingent, left?
That is correct.
Okay. Yes. Then at paragraph 21 on page 7, are you there?
That's correct.
You speak about what happened after your call with Brigadier Mokoena and the members of the Hawks left. Can you tell us what happened when you went back into the scene?
After that interaction, Commissioner, with the members of the Hawks, and then I walked back towards the house. Before I enter the back entrance, Mr. Lehasha Moloi was just seated there, but guarded by combat members. And he asked me an excuse, of which I attended to him. That's where he started to interacting with me. He has the service of the water and the service of the cigarette. I then called the eldest son of Mr. Katiso Molefe to come and assist, of which he organized water and the cigarette, and it was served by Mr. It was served by the eldest son of Mr. Molefe. And then when he was done, before I left him, he asked me a question that, Captain, what is going to happen now? Because the arrested person is the friend of the honorable of the Minister of Police. And then I asked him, he said, because he's a friend of the minister. I said, who is that minister? He said, the Minister of Police. I said, Honorable Senzo Mkhunu, and then he said, yes. And I then explained to him just a standard procedure if a person is arrested that no, we are still in a crime scene. Crime scene is in a process. After we have done here, the suspect will be taken to a police station where will be processed and formally charged. But the family members will be informed about where the suspect will be taken to, of which will be done by the investigating officer in that particular case which has witness A. And then I said, after that, other than that, witness A will deal with other matters.
Did you not inquire from him what was the significance of him telling you that the arrested person is a friend to the Minister of Police?
No, I didn't inquire to him, Commissioner.
Why not?
I took it on a lighter note, Commissioner, because I didn't know Mr. Molefe. What he was saying for me, it was just to listen, because friends are friends. That's what came to me. If they are friends, and then I'm not interested in that, I could not dig any further, colleagues.
Just so we are clear and there's no confusion.
Yes.
This conversation is happening between you and Mr. Lehasa Moloi, not with Mr. Molefe.
No, Mr. Mohasa Moloi, yes. Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. If we can then go to page 8 of your statement at paragraph 23, I think you then said you explained the process to Mr. Moloi regarding what would happen after the operation. And then at paragraph, you say you went back into the house at paragraph 24. After you processed the scene, where did you go to?
After the scene was successfully processed, and I left with the other members of who were part of that planned operation. I think two addresses, one in Soweto and one in Sentin. But they were going to look for the other suspect who was also allegedly to be involved in the planned down operation.
And who was that person? Who was that the suspect?
I was later told that was Lucky Molefe. Yes, but I didn't know by then. But when we got there, I could not get involved. I just stayed in the car because there were no activity that required my expertise on that time.
And why do you say that your expertise was not needed at that time? Were they able to find Mr. Molefe, Mr. Lucky Molefe?
No, he was still at large. At that stage, he was not found.
Then if we can go to the next topic in your statement, which is actually the last topic, it's possible interference. Sorry.
Before you do that, Ms. Nube, just to take you back to the discussion with the conversation with General Mukwe, with Brigadier Mukwena, and you say he then, I think at page 7, paragraph 20, this is where, paragraph 19 rather, where he pens his cell phone to show you the room in which he is, and then you say, I do not recall why he specifically informed me that he was with General Libya. You see where I am?
Commissioner's page?
Right at the top of page 7. You say, at the top of page 7 in your statement, you say, I do not recall why he specifically informed me that he was with General Libya. You see where I'm reading?
That's correct, Commissioner. I see.
Now, before he said this to you, before Mr. Brigadier Mkwena told you this, had Captain Kruger mentioned to you that someone had said that General Libya is at the house with you in the operation?
No.
Was this the first time
That was
you
the
had
first
anything about the mentioning of General Libya?
No, not at all.
No. So let me repeat my question. When the brigadier tells you that he was with General Libya, this was the first time you had a mention of General Libya.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mbe.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Can we then go back to your statement at page 8, paragraph 25, where you start off with your topic on possible interference? Before you deal with the content of those paragraphs, can you tell the commissioners why you refer to it as possible interference and not interference? Why is it possible interference?
Commissioner, I've been to planned operations while I was still before I was deployed at National Task Team in my district, King Cetshwayo district, in KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the other operations that I was also part of it that took place in East London, in Eastern Cape, where I went to 4 addresses in East London, as well as in 2 addresses in Alice. But I didn't experience any interference from any other police agency.
Yes, my question is, why do you refer to it as being possible interference? That suggests that you are not sure whether it was actually interference, as opposed to saying that you are convinced that it was interference. Why is there a doubt about it?
Firstly, Commissioner, as I alluded earlier on, that the local police stations would have been activated to come and verify. Yes, whether is it illegal operations or not illegal operations. And why such a big team from the Hawks? As the Commissioner have said, that maybe one member with a good attitude as well. So the attitude and their presence was concerning to me, Commissioner. I've never experienced the interference in my career as well, colleagues. And I then give them the benefit of doubt. That did not sit well with me during their presence.
Just a quick question. Do you know whether they came from Johannesburg or Pretoria, the Hawks that were present on the scene? Did you know where they came from?
No, Commissioner, I'll be lying. I don't know.
And when you refer to their attitude, are you referring to your statement that they were unfriendly?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Would you accept that you too were unfriendly? I'm asking this because, is it Captain Kruger? What's his rank?
It's Captain Kruger, Chair.
Yes. I'm asking because Captain Kruger actually admits that they, the Hawks people, were unfriendly, but that you too were unfriendly. Would you admit that you too were unfriendly?
Commissioner, I don't know prior that, because when I was called, they were already stopped by the members of the combat by the gate. So I don't know how that interaction go. How did it go? Because the other member of the combat, the way he came to me, he was very, very in a hurry that I must quickly rush to the gate. because I happen to be a senior person in that operation to address the situation. So before that, I don't know. But when I got there, yes, they were unfriendly to me because they were asking the questions, demanding the questions, not even allowing me to give the chance until Captain Kruger, I must be genuine, Commissioner, he was calm and friendly. Because he was recording, he wanted the facts and all those things in a nice and a formal way, you see. But I was responding to him as well in a very respectful way. But I cannot speak on behalf of other members.
So if he was calm and friendly, who were unfriendly?
I wouldn't know, Commissioner.
On his side.
On his side. It was some of the members of the Hawks.
All right, thank you. Yes, Mr.
Thank you, Chair. So you and Captain Kruger weren't unfriendly, but everyone else seemed to be unfriendly towards each other. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Thank you, Captain Wanda. Chair, that is the evidence of this witness, unless there's anything further from the commissioners.
Yes, may I? Captain, the heading of this section is possible interference, and Ms. Sigals-Ngube asked you, why do you seem to be unsure? Looking at your paragraph 26, you speak more firmly that what happened with the Hawks constituted an interference. Do you want to explain that? Just explain what you've said in this paragraph, or even read it into the record.
Okay, let me read it to the record, Commissioner, then I'll also elaborate on that.
Yes.
As a police officer, I gave other police officers a doubt of other officers a benefit of a doubt because...
Sorry, Captain, you're reading the incorrect paragraph 26 on page 9. Yes.
On page 9.
My apology, Commissioner. In my view, the conduct of the Hawks constituted interference or disturbance with the legitimate takedown operation in circumstances where there was no basis for their presence at the scene. It was also very concerning to me that the questions they were asking and their attitude towards us seemed to be consistent with that of the team looking to interfere in our operations, as opposed to verifying if we were SAPS members.
You said you will explain more.
Yes.
This paragraph. Do you want to add anything onto what you've said here?
But the whole paragraph is just summarizes itself, Commissioner. I'll be repeating the same thing.
So am I correct, and that's what the words say in the paragraph, that you considered that just the mere presence of the Hawks where you're conducting a legitimate operation, that just their mere presence was to interfere with the operation? Am I correct to understand it that way?
Yeah, that is correct, Commissioner, because we had to stop processing and attend to them. By that itself, that was a disturbance or interference.
And you said Captain Kruger was in civilian clothes?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Girls.
Paragraph 16 of your statement, Captain, you did not deal with it, and it concerns me. You say in paragraph 16, witness A informed them being the members of the Hawks, that the operation was legitimate. When the members of the Hawks asked for details about the operation, including who we were arresting and the case number, witness A refused to disclose this information and indicated that it was not necessary for them to know these details. Did it not concern you that after you had identified yourselves as members of the SAPS, they still wanted to know the details of the operation, who was being arrested, the case number, disclosure of all that information?
It raised a concern, Commissioner.
And what is that concern?
It raised a concern because that was a sensitive issue that we were dealing with. So most of the information could not be divulged to any other person, even though it could be police officers.
So that is Captain Maxwell Wanda. As he is just about to wrap up his testimony, there's another witness who was there when Katie Molefe was being arrested. Just to wrap it up in a nutshell, what he's told the commission is that when they were at Katie Molefe's house, there is someone there who actually told them that you guys are arresting this man. Do you know that this Katie Molefe you're arresting is friends with the Minister of Police? And they asked, what do you mean, Minister of Police? That person was referring to Senzo Mkhune. In fact, in the clip, he had said the child of Katie Molefe said that. But when he was asked the question, he seemed to be referring to Lehase Moloi. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe he's a driver or bodyguard or someone who works with Katie Molefe. But someone in the house told the cops who were arresting Katie Molefe that this man you're arresting is close to Senzo Mkhune, the Minister of Police. And he also, this Captain Maxwell Wanda, who's a former member of the PKTT, also says that there was possible interference by Hawks members. Hawks members arrived. They were sent there by the head of the Hawks at the time, Godfrey Lebeya. And when they got there, they wanted to know, who are you? They identified themselves as legitimate members of the police. But the Hawks members still continued to ask, what's the case number? What are you arresting this person for? So the questions that Hawks members were asking the SAPS members went about verifying whether the operation was legitimate, but more about interference, according to this Captain Maxwell Wanda. What does that tell you about the role Godfrey Lebeya, as the head of the Hawks at the time, may have played? And maybe he was misinformed. And if he was misinformed, if Malcolm X called him and gave him wrong information, why did Malcolm X do that? Those are the questions on my mind. It's a minute before 11.
What you're hearing isn't a traffic accident. It's not panic braking. It's our amazing car-stopping 40th birthday deals. For a limited time only, Auto & General is offering great savings with our 40th birthday Ruby deals. Celebrate with us by visiting autogen.co.za for great personal and business car insurance savings. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online. Offer available for a limited time only.
The milk steamer was loud. So loud that Lungi heard hot milk instead of oat milk. It was bad. So bad. The milk didn't really sit right with the lactose intolerant customer. It was bad. So bad. Too bad they didn't have Yoko Counter. With Yoko Printer, orders flow straight to the barista. So good. Yoko Counter. Super simple POS and payments in one. No contracts, no hidden costs.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. We start with breaking news. The man accused of killing two women in Mamelodi has appeared in court on 5 charges. Tebogo Mnisi was arrested in connection with the shooting of Baliseng and Tiamo Moromacha on Sunday. The bodies of the two cousins were found by a neighbor just a few meters away from their home. It's understood one of the victims was in a relationship with Mnisi. Prosecutor Advocate Tseho Mpake announced the charges a short while ago.
That count is attempted murder. It being alleged that on the 26th of October 2025, near Mamelodi, In the district of Mamelodi, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally attempt to kill Desmond Seneng, an adult male, by shooting him with a firearm. The fourth count, Your Worship, is possession of a firearm without a license. The fifth count, Your Worship, is possession of ammunition.
A former member of the police's political killings task team has shared information surrounding the arrest of alleged criminal Katiso KT Molefe. Captain Maxwell Wanda is the first witness today to take the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Molefe was arrested in connection with the murder of Armand Swart, an engineer whose company uncovered corruption in a Transnet tender awarded to Molefe's nephew. Wanda says police found guns at Molefe's home when he was arrested in December.
He also showed us before we entered the house. He showed us just a fleet of cars. And then amongst those cars, there was that one white BMW that I mentioned earlier on. That on the back seat had a rifle bag with 3 or 4 rifle magazines loaded with ammunition.
7 people have died in a crash in Pasonia, south of Johannesburg this morning. Metro police officers say a taxi and a bakkie collided on Komoro Road. JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla says the victims who died were passengers from the taxi. Fihla says emergency services are at the scene.
Multiple injuries have been reported, with 7 fatalities confirmed from the minibus taxi, and Komoro Road is blocked off to traffic in both directions.
The EFF and MK party in Parliament have rejected 2 of the nominees approved for reappointment as commissioners of the Independent Electoral Commission, claiming that other capable candidates were ignored. The National Assembly yesterday approved the nominations of current IEC chairperson Mosotho Mpia, current Commissioner Judge Daya Pillay, and newcomer Joyce Pitso for recommendation to the President. While the majority of parties did not vote against the nominations, they were nevertheless critical of the process and not introducing new people to the Commission. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Both the MK Party and the EFF have once again cried foul over the 2024 elections, claiming votes were stolen from their parties. With 8 nominations sent by the interviewing panel to Parliament for consideration, the EFF's Tapelo Mogale said current commissioners Mosotho Mpia and Judge Daya Pillay failed to impress.
The panel was clear that these 2 candidates would not offer any meaningful solutions to address the growing problem of voter apathy and the high number of unregistered eligible voters.
Action SA's Maleba Kobe said her party also did not support the return of Mpia and that the Commission needs younger nominees. ACDP leader Kenneth Meshwe questioned whether the nominees had been properly vetted for impartiality and whether Parliament was merely acting as a rubber stamp.
The process felt rushed. Public input wasn't properly considered.
The UDM's Thandi Nontenja said her party also did not approve of the recycling of commissioners and abstained from voting on the report. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And senators in France are expected to back a bill defining rape as any non-consensual sexual act. This makes the country the first European country to pass a consent-based law. The final vote comes after members of the lower house approved the bill, paving the way for its adoption by Senate. Advocacy groups have welcomed the reform while stressing it must be accompanied by deeper societal change. Gold is trading at $3,977.36 an ounce. The rand is at 17.13 to the dollar, 22.66 to the pound, 19.92 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.47 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the R25 Morafontein Road approaching the N3. This is due to roadworks causing delays along this route. About a 10-minute hold-up can be expected there. While travelling on the N3 North, we've got some delays coming out of the Geldenhuys interchange towards Van Buren Road. Please be on the lookout heading towards Bedfordview or even Edenvale.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 25 degrees. The breaking story in EWN this hour: the man accused of killing 2 women in Mamelodi has appeared in court on 5 charges.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
It's 8 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time for our world, not our world of work feature, but our listener's choice feature.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
And there's been a lot of conversations taking place around deputy ministers, especially given what one of the deputy ministers of police, because there's two deputy ministers of police, believe it or not, Clement Manyathela, who appeared at the Parliamentary ad hoc committee yesterday. One of the things he said was that he hasn't been delegated powers or responsibilities yet. I mean, this government started when? This government of national unity. It's been over a year now. So the questions members of parliament were asking him was, what have you been doing? Like, what do you do in the morning when you get up and you take a bath? Like, what do you do as a deputy minister? And he wasn't able to answer that. So on our listener's choice feature today, we're going to revisit a conversation that we have had before several times, but I think it's a conversation worth repeating, because it's you as a taxpayer who's paying the salaries of these deputy ministers. So what do they actually do when they are not delegated powers? They get about 2.2 million rand. And on top of that, there are all sorts of benefits that come with that. I mean, they've got up to 10 highly paid staff support, 4 SAPS protectors, 2 in Cape Town, 2 in Joburg, a parliamentary officer. I can go on and on. A long list of benefits. Action SA has proposed a private member's bill in Parliament to enact a constitutional amendment to do away with the position of deputy ministers because they're clearly unnecessary. But the president disagrees because previously he's tried to defend the work of deputy ministers. So we've invited Professor Derek Coetzee, who's a political analyst, to join us for this conversation. And I would like to know from you if maybe there's a deputy minister that you think works really hard and you can see that their responsibilities that they've carried out have actually demonstrated the need for deputy ministers. Who is that deputy minister for you? And I'd like you to also be able to motivate what they have actually done. Like, what have you picked up as their responsibilities that you think justifies retaining deputy ministers? Or maybe you want to comment about the uselessness of this position of deputy ministers. What have you observed? Do you think, especially given what you heard yesterday from Clement Manyathela, that there's a need for these guys? Because it's really, in my view, a patronage system. Because even when you look at their salaries, 2.2 million for deputy ministers get about 2.6, 2.8. There's not a huge difference. Even when you look at the benefits, how many SAPS members they get are assigned, how many parliamentary officers, outreach officers, and. The differences are not that much. In fact, it's an opportunity to blow up cabinet. It must be bloated further. Unfortunately, you can't have 80 ministers or 50 ministers. So how you divide it is we're going to have ministers and we're going to have deputy ministers, because that way you're giving your comrades opportunities to have these positions. Yeah? Even though when you actually look at the responsibilities, deputy ministers barely do anything, if at all. And if they do anything at all, they get delegated powers and responsibilities. So share your thoughts with us on 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Professor Derek Coetzee is a professor in the Department of Political Sciences at the University of Pretoria. Prof, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. I'm actually at UNISA. So,
at UNISA.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So I want to, Prof, start with what Kasal Matale said yesterday, because he was asked specific questions about what he does. Every single day, do you wake up? Do you go to work? What do you wait for? And the suggestion, at least I got, and I don't know how you assessed it, was that the minister had not delegated powers and responsibilities yet. So it's almost like for the past year, over a year, these deputy ministers have been doing what exactly? And I'm not even talking about just them arriving at the scene because there's been a terrible murder and they have to show face with the minister or with the national commissioner. We're talking here about actual work that they do. From what you heard yesterday, I mean, was he able to justify why there's a need for deputy ministers and why they exist?
Yes, good morning. I think what we've heard is the bad example of a deputy minister. There are some good ministers, and it will be interesting, you ask for the listeners to send in their suggestions of who they think are good deputy ministers. Let me start first of all by saying cabinet ministers are members of the cabinet, deputy ministers are not. So that's one big difference in terms of the constitutional status of them. In terms of the arrangement specifically by President Ramaphosa is that they've reached an agreement in cabinet that each minister who has a deputy minister must have a written agreement with the one or two deputy ministers about their job descriptions. And it must be written and actually available to the public. And it is specifically in departments which are quite big. For example, the DIRCO, in International Relations and Cooperation, now the Department of, and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Competition, also now Public Works that includes infrastructure. There the deputy ministers have very dedicated responsibilities. It is very strange that the Deputy Minister of Police is saying that by implication that he doesn't have that document, because otherwise he could have presented it to the ad hoc committee now. So that is a reflection on how the minister is managing his ministry. That brings in, for example, the Chief of Staff. That's one of the responsibilities of the Chief of Staff of the Minister's office, to make sure that these things are in place and that they work according to those work allocations or job descriptions. Because they have also a type of a performance agreement. All the ministers have a performance agreement with the president. So they have to account at some points about what they've done and whether they have met, for example, these requirements.
But have the ministers themselves accounted to the president? Because we always hear of these performance agreements, but do we actually know at the end of the year how Minister A, Minister B have fared?
No, we don't know that. And that is part of the problem again. That should be something which should be public knowledge, because they are not there as in the private sector context, they are there for the public sector. And therefore, we need to understand what they've done in terms of these agreements that they've with the president. So that's all, I think, the broader picture that we need to take into account when it comes to deputy ministers. Some of them, I should say that also, deputy ministers in general are not supposed to be so public in nature. What often happens in ministries is that the ministers are more the public figures and the deputy ministers are the ones who do a lot of the office work. So they are less, opening of new events or attending events or so, but rather very much involved with working with the department, the Director General and others on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, from what we heard yesterday, that's not necessarily the case. Here's the issue I think I'm picking up here, Professor Kotsia. If ministers, because you said earlier there was an agreement that the ministers have to draw up the responsibilities for their deputies. If ministers are the ones that have to sort of design those responsibilities, I think that there's going to be tension there, because my experience in the past, having observed ministers and deputies, is that there's often tension that exists between the two offices, because ministers don't want to be overshadowed by their deputies. So you will see that even when they delegate their responsibilities to them, it's merely, go cut that ribbon there, go attend that meeting. But there's never anything of substance, which then leads to the deputy ministers feeling undermined. And then there's tension, and then the president has to intervene. It's happened before in the past with Faith Mutambi and what's his name? Stella Ndabeni and other ministers as well. So doesn't that create a situation where the tensions are going to increase if you're putting that responsibility solely on the minister to design what the deputy should do?
Well, I agree with you that there is certainly the potential for that. And I think on top of what you have mentioned is now with the government of national unity, where you have a minister of one party and the deputy from another party. We've seen it, for example, in the case of Andrew Whitfield in the trade and industry and competition, where that developed into tensions between the minister and the deputy minister. But there's other examples where the deputy ministers, for example, Alvin Botha in Durban, I've seen the job description for him. He's very much responsible, for example, for the non-aligned movement, for international multilateral organizations and so on. And that's his focus area, nothing else. But it really depends on how well the ministry is organized. And as we know, some are definitely not in line with what is expected of them, while some other ministers, for example, the Minister of Deputy of Justice and Constitutional Development, Andre Snell, is possibly the strongest among the two, because he's there the longest. And the Minister of Justice is coming and going, as we've seen now lately. So in that case, again, he's a stabilizing presence. Wuti Manamela in higher education played exactly the same role. So there is some purpose, but I agree fully with you, it's not across the board the case.
Yeah, and I don't know then how you formalize it like that so that it's uniform, for lack of a better phrase, of a better word. Because, and I agree with you, Alvin Botha, when you look at what he does at DERCO, you can see that this is a man at work and a man who also understands even that portfolio. Andre Snell, who's been at Justice, who was at Justice for the longest time. So you can see that there are elements where deputy ministers are doing their work, but also, Professor Kotsia, I mean, what they do is not like it's work that the ministers wouldn't be able to do. So even with Alvin Botha, even with Andre Snell, do you think that ministers wouldn't be able, because some of those responsibilities could be delegated, for instance, to the accounting officers, the DG, the Deputy, Director General, or other senior officials within the department. They could carry out some of those responsibilities, no?
Well, you are raising a very interesting point, and that goes back to the commission and to the Nkonazi issue. And this is the distinction between the executive and the public sector, the private and the public administration. And that is what the difference between the ministry and the department is. The DG cannot do that work. It's not supposed to. He is the chief accounting officer from a financial point of view, but not from a policy point of view. So that is where the ministers and the deputy ministers come in. They must be, except for two, must be members of parliament. They must account to parliament for everything that's been done in that ministry and department, while a DG can only account for what is being done from an accounting point of view in the department, but cannot take the political responsibility. So I think that's a principle that we actually have to be very jealous about.
Yeah, and absolutely agree there. That line has to be clear between accounting officers and the executive authority. I want to bring in some views coming from some of our listeners on 072 702 1702. We're talking about the role of deputy ministers, and yes, I know it's a conversation we have often. Sometimes it raises its ugly head, but I think it's worth us constantly talking about it, because it's crazy to know that we as taxpayers are paying some people out there 2.2 million rand, and right now as we speak, there's probably chilling in their mansion in Pretoria or in Cape Town, waiting to be given responsibilities by the minister, and it's been over a year. That makes me uncomfortable, because 2.2 million is a lot of money. And if we're going to spend that as taxpayers, we better spend it on something where we see a return on investment. Here are some of your WhatsApp voice notes that have come through.
Good morning, Clement. Pat here from Spayview. If you remember, the Action SA, Dade Mashabela, he's been very vocal about these deputy ministers. It's a waste of money. They don't know what they're doing. And as well as bosses, Musimaimani, he's been complaining about these, that these guys, they need to be disbanded. There shouldn't be any deputy ministers, because they're just there to collect money. So I think the president now, he should be ashamed where he is, having to listen what the deputy police minister was, or commissioner was, how he answered his questions. It's a fallacy, really.
Morning, Clement. For me, I feel like the deputy minister thing, it came across as an ANC thing of saying, okay, we're gonna reward you guys because we need to find people jobs, because there's minister of this, minister of that, minister of that. Then in a way, all of the ANC, they must all eat. So the deputy positions were some kind of just a reward of saying, here's what you can do. Maybe there are some deputies who are doing something somewhere in their portfolios, but I don't know, maybe, yeah. But I just feel like it came across that way yesterday, because in that portfolio only, there's 2 deputy ministers from the same party, ANC.
Good morning, Clement, and how are you? I'm good. It's Bongani from Alberton. Clement, in my understanding, the deputy minister, they are there to back up the ministers. If you know that if the minister is active, that means the deputy minister doesn't have any job. If the minister is not active, that means the deputy minister is the one who is active, who is doing the job for the ministers. So this thing of cadre deployment of the ANC, because you must understand they put people who don't have experience, who know nothing about that department. So they take the one as a deputy minister to back up. Thank you, Clement.
Prof, let me bring you back here. So if reforms were on the table, because I mean, Action SA has also proposed a private members bill in Parliament to enact a constitutional amendment that would do away with the position of deputy ministers, because they've been saying they're useless. That's not unnecessary. So if reforms were on the table, what are, in your view, practical policy options that could reduce cost but improve accountability without hampering the administration of government? What options are available for us?
Well, there's a number of options. First one is that some of the ministries can combine, so that there's we had, for example, in the past, the Ministry of Agriculture and Land Reform. That was one minister with 2 departments, the 2 separate departments. Then in that case, there was then a deputy minister that assisted in with basically one of the departments. I think, first of all, the idea that there should be a deputy minister for every minister, that should be more or less, that correct assumption should be removed. So there must be a special justification why a deputy minister is necessary. To have two deputy ministers, I think that should be, at the moment there's two ministries with two deputy ministers. I think that's simply too many. And that should be very seriously reconsidered. Because the Constitution is not specific about it. It simply says there can be deputy ministers. It's not compulsory. So it's not for the president that he must appoint deputy ministers. If he doesn't appoint a deputy minister, it doesn't mean it's unconstitutional. So there is enough flexibility in the Constitution with respect to this. But I think what many people would like to see is maybe a revisiting of the portfolios of the cabinet, of the ministers in the first instance, and in some instances being able to bring them together. But in terms of cost saving, no, the costs are not saved at the level of ministers and deputy ministers. It's saved at the level of departments, because that is where hundreds of people are employed.
Yeah.
And so the big restructuring should therefore not be necessarily at the level of the cabinet, but rather to look at how the different departments at the moment function, including the office of the president, that has a sort of a subsection of how many? About four departments.
Yeah. Because the minister in the presidency is monitoring and evaluation. What else is there? I mean, state security is still in the presidency, isn't it? Well, it's overseen by the minister in the presidency, no? Kumbuzon Chaveni. So yeah, there's some in the presidency. Let me go to Bonnie, who's calling us from Midrand. But I must say, for me, it's really weird that the president has actually delegated the responsibility to the ministers themselves to design the responsibilities of the deputies, because some ministers are overzealous and they'll refuse to delegate or share responsibilities because they don't want to be overshadowed. They don't want to be outstaged. So why place that responsibility on them? Like in the UK, the Prime Minister designates the scope and powers of deputy ministers. And here, you want that to be at the discretion of a minister? It doesn't make sense. Bonnie, you're in Midrand. I'm told you used to work with the Transport Deputy Minister. What was your experience? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. My experience, maybe firstly, let me talk about my opinion in relation to deputy ministers. I do think that it depends on the minister as well as the deputy minister. If a deputy minister is committed and, the level of his or her sophistication is high, she will or he will be able to do whatever that is there, that is available to her. And specifically, I want to talk about, I was in the department in transport at ATNS for, a good 15 years. And our deputy minister was Minister Chikunga. And our understanding was that she's responsible for all the SOEs under transport, which is the ATNS, AXA, South African Civil Aviation Authority, and all the others. And she really did a good job.
Yeah.
The transformation there, that's why even up to today we have female CEOs in those institutions. She did a good job. And so in my view, there is a need and there is something for them to do. But like in any other job, Clement, if you are given a senior position, your responsibility is to be creative and come up with things that you can identify, things that you can do to improve your department. But if you are given a task, a senior position, to put it clearly, and you are not at that level, and that's where I'm talking about complexity and sophistication.
Yeah, Bonnie, and thank you so much for the call, for reminding us of Minister Chikunga. She's now the Minister of Women in the presidency. Women, youth, and persons with disabilities. And Chikunga, in fact, I mean, at the time when she was deputy minister, she worked so hard. And at some point, she got promoted to be the Minister of Transport, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember saying that she was one of the deputy ministers who were working because she would even hold press briefings. I mean, how many ministers do you know who will hold a press briefing? It's ministers who wants to do that. The deputies, and she used to do that because she was responsible for these entities that Bonnie speaks about. So in some cases, and it's really a few cases, you can see what the deputy ministers are doing. But in others, not so sure. Bonnie, thanks for that call. Thanks to Professor Derek Kotze as well, who is a professor in the Department of Political Sciences at UNISA, for joining us for that chat. It's 11:32. Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The man accused of killing 2 women in Mamelodi has abandoned his bail application. Debogo Mnisi appeared in court briefly this morning, facing 5 charges. Mnisi was arrested in connection with the shooting of Baleseng and Siamo Moramaga on Sunday morning. A member of the Political Killings Task Team has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that he was puzzled by the number of Hawks officers who disrupted the takedown operation of alleged crime boss Katiso KT Molefe. During his testimony at the Commission this morning, Captain Maxwell Wanda revealed he was amongst the officers who raided Molefe's home in December last year. That raid was in connection with the murder of engineer Ahmed Swat. And in KZN, emergency service teams are on high alert as severe rain and thunderstorms hit parts of that province. The SA Weather Service issued a warning of harsh weather conditions in both the western and northern parts of KZN. The conditions are expected to persist until tomorrow. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N3 North, we've got bumper-to-bumper delays between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange due to those long-term roadworks along the route. While travelling in Greenside, more roadworks are causing delays. This is along Modderfontein Road, delays between Pretoria Road and the N3. Heading towards Bedford View, do expect heavy traffic volumes on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kiludis interchange. In Basonia, unfortunately, the Komara Street remains closed off to traffic. This is due to that earlier fatal accident. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. If you are leaving Basonia, maybe try to use Kliprifuur Drive through the N12 and then head on over to your destination. And there's also queuing traffic in Devland along the Golden Highway. This is between the N1 and Union Avenue. Faulty traffic lights as well as roadworks are causing these delays. That's your last traffic update from me, Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabojali will have your next report from the top of the hour onwards. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
7:02.
25 minutes before 12 o'clock. It's time now for our Sharing Space, and this is where we share our stories about everything, really. And when you want to share the story with us, you can send us an email on cm@702.co.za. I'm going to read an email now, and I must confess, this story is quite bizarre for me, and I want to know what your thoughts are. So I'm going to read it, and then I would like you to give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note and give this person advice, anonymous, or just tell us if you've experienced something similar. So here we go. Hi, Clement and your listeners. I planned a trip with 5 of my friends for my 35th birthday. The trip was to Greece. We booked rooms in pairs as it was more affordable that way. The hotel room was 28,000 Rand for a week's stay. So we paid 14,000 Rand each. On the day of the trip, I found out that my passport was damaged, and I therefore could not travel. I tried to get a new passport, but I was told that I would also need to restart the visa process, and I obviously would not be able to do so in time. I therefore could not go on the trip, so I began the process of seeking refunds immediately, and I was refunded for the flights. The only refund I did not get was for the accommodation. Remember, guys, paid 14,000 for the accommodation. I want my friend to refund me my 14,000 rand because she got to enjoy the full room on her own. She has refused. She says she didn't predict that I wouldn't make it and she does not have the money to pay me. My other friends are on her side, but I believe that she can pay me for my share of the room because she had it all to herself. Please ask your listeners if I am wrong in expecting this from my friend and what to do. That's anonymous. So, I find it bizarre that anonymous expects the friend to pay her, basically to refund her for the money that she's paid for accommodation, as if it's the friend's fault now. I don't see why she has to be refunded for that. Because unfortunately, you're unable to make the trip, but the room that you were going to share with your friend is 28,000 rand for a week's stay. So why must the friend pay you back what you paid just because they're enjoying the room on their own? Like, the friend has budgeted, I mean, imagine you budgeted 28 or 30,000 rand for this trip. You've paid for your flights, you've paid for your accommodation, and now you must find 14,000 rand somewhere to give someone who couldn't come on the trip. And that is not your fault that they are not on the trip with you. So, I'm sorry, Anonymous. I think what you're asking for here is a little crazy. Just accept that you didn't go on the trip, and I'm sorry that you didn't go on the trip, but it is what it is. But to expect your friend to go find 14,000 rand to pay you because you had paid for a room that you didn't enjoy and she enjoyed it on her own is a bit wild for me. I'm sorry, I don't understand it. Do you understand where Anonymous is coming from? Do you think the friend must pay this 14,000 rand because the friend now has stayed in this room on her own, even though she and Anonymous have paid 14,000 each for this room? Or do you think Anonymous is a little cray-cray here for expecting that? Let's talk. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. 20 minutes before 12.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
One of the things you've developed at Standard Bank is something called the Africa-China Trade Solutions, ACTS. What particular problems does that address, and how does it address it? I would have thought getting your foothold in a foreign market is generally complicated. I don't know if China's more complicated than most.
So China's very dynamic, and it's a massive market, as you can imagine. There's about 1.4 billion people. So the Africa-China Trade Solutions are designed to simplify and accelerate trade.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Hey, Laura. The unmistakable voice of jazz and soul returns to South Africa, Gregory Porter. Join the two-time Grammy Award winner for 3 intimate performances now at Teatro Monte Casino on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of November. Don't miss one of the greatest voices of our time, Gregory Porter, live. Book now at showtime.co.za.
Who says everyday driving can't be très chic? Rent premium with Sani Sixt now. Own the stylish Citroen C3 later. Yes, that's 3 cars, 3 months, 3 chances to say ooh la la. Just book directly on sani.co.za. Call us or rent at any branch between 1 November and 31 January, and you're automatically entered into the draw. Bon voyage with Sani Sixt and win. T's and C's apply.
You can become a victim of a legal problem. Wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Something big is happening when the family group chat explodes, like the Chamberlain Big Summer Splash promotion, on from 23 October to 9 November. 10% off finest 1903 paint mixing. That's incredible! Amazing deals on outdoor, braai, pool and camping gear. Even the dogs joining in with our social media puppy paw pick competition for a chance to win 1,000 Rand. And what's that? You can meet Bucky's Boerta live in store at Centurion. Come make a splash with the whole family. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
The sharing space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
18 minutes before 12 o'clock. Kagiso, let's start with you. You're calling from Mayerdale. Good morning.
Hello, Clement.
Hey, Tada.
Anonymous must just check her heart.
Yeah.
She thought that the friends were supposed to cancel because she didn't make it. Actually, she must pay the friend because she wasn't planning on going on the holiday. She was doing it for her. So to expect 14,000, even 1,400 is a lot of money. Career, Lolin, she just needs to check her heart. She feels some sense of jealousy. She didn't expect them to go because now, she had those issues which were unplanned for everyone. So how
and we are sorry that she went through that passport. I had issues.
But now actually sorry because her heart is not in the good place. It's not in the right place.
You're not sympathetic anymore. Yeah.
No. I'm not sorry anymore. Her heart, she must just check her heart.
Yeah, no. Kagiso in Mayerdale, thank you. I hear you. Lindy, you're calling from Lenasia. Hi.
How are you, Clement?
Hey, Tada.
I absolutely concur with the lady who has just spoken now. That lady must check her heart because it's not that lady, it's not her friend's fault that they did not travel to Greece. It's absolutely not her fault. If the hotel was able to refund them back, then I could have had a better understanding on that because their 28,000 could have been refunded. Now that 28,000 was not going to be refunded, then the friend must also be involved in that, of which is absolutely wrong. No, that lady she wants to break the good relationship for nothing.
So must she go back to the friend now and apologize and say, Ish?
Absolutely. She must go to her friend and apologize for that. Absolutely.
And I hope she didn't tell the friend, hey, I need you to pay me back my half while the friend is in Greece. Because now you're ruining a friend's holiday now. Because when you didn't go. Lerato, you are in the Johannesburg CBD. Hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right. What are your thoughts?
I think she's being very unfair on her friend. I think before you travel abroad, one of the checks that you do is that your passport is intact. You check your passport for validity, all of those things, not even days before, but way in advance, just in case you need to either update or whatever.
And you keep it safe, Lerato, on days before. Because our kids are seeing.
Exactly. You don't check it the day before you travel and then just to see if it's fine.
What's happening with the line there? Oh, we've lost Lerato. Bashe, you are in Midrand. Hi.
My brother, how are you?
Sure.
Sharp, man. Listen, people need to stop taking pictures smiling, Now people think, okay, 14,000 to give away.
Oh.
Her friends made a mistake. They were not supposed to take pictures.
Bashe, we're losing you.
The rule is... Can you hear me, Clement?
Yeah, we can. You're back on now. Go ahead.
The rule is if you pay for everything. If you miss the date where we're taking off, you've missed it.
Yeah.
It's non-refundable. Now the friends obviously posted pictures without her. Obviously, reliable Toko. Her heart is sore. So a shame, man.
Yeah.
McFlurry or something.
Yeah, and there's a thing, guys. There's a thing about traveling and the expectations that some people have. And I want to broaden this a little bit because I once was in a situation where I was supposed to travel with someone who wanted to join me because normally I would travel in December, especially for the New Year's period. And I've got someone who was like, oh, okay, I want to join you this time. I was like, okay, sure. And then the person says to me a month before that, oh, listen, I need to be at work during that period. So we won't be able to travel anymore. I said, what a joke, my darling. What do you mean we? And the expectation from this person was that, wait, so you're going to just go? I mean, I've got work to do. I was like, I was leaving anyway. I'm going. You decided to join. So the fact that we're now nada. So stay here and work, and you can either join on whenever you're done with work, but I'm leaving. And I was seen to be unfair and uncaring. So nice friends, we need to stop this nonsense of one placing these unfair, crazy expectations on our other friends. If you can't make it for the trip, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. You'll make it for the next one. Like, life goes on. But for you to be demanding the payment or demanding friends to cancel a holiday because you can't, what's enwa? It's 13 minutes before 12.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Fiwa, what feedback do you have?
We did have a response from yesterday's big interview.
Yeah, the
Tandy.
mother of the child.
They did say they imposed a few sanctions.
Because they won't come on, St. Stithians has handled this absolutely appallingly because they won't even account to talk about their policies and whether or not those, in fact, help the kids and their families who are the victims of bullying. And I think it's a shame that they won't come on and speak and give their version.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Ask yourself, what matters most?
I just want to be there when she takes her first steps.
And still be around for her first dance.
It's knowing I'm not just covered, I'm cared for.
It's having the strength to say I'm back.
It's just knowing Mom will be okay.
It's coming home.
Bonitas goes beyond benefits and claims. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Voted #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index Awards for the second year running. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Babe,
Yeah?
the fridge light finally stopped flickering.
Yeah. I replaced it.
You replaced it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, on your own?
Yep.
You know what that means.
Party! Every excuse is a great one when you've got balloons, bubbles, gift wrap, cards, candles, and dress up.
I'm calling it the Fridge Light Festival!
The Crazy Store. Hey, you never know what you might find to have a good party.
The Sharing Space.
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
11 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement. That's crazy. You cannot expect your friends to pay for accommodation that it was like basically your responsibility to make sure that your passport is okay. I was also not gonna pay her. I mean, if she enjoyed the room on her own, why not? It's the one whose passport had issues that was at fault here. I mean, the ask does not make sense.
Good morning, Clement. I don't see why the friends should refund the anonymous because it was her fault. She should have checked everything before doing anything. Should have checked the passport. So on this one, she's on the wrong. It was her negligence that caused her not to travel to Greece. Thank you, Tembi in Pulse of. Bye.
Hi, Clement. Definitely, she is wrong. The friend did not know that your passport was damaged. What was she supposed to do? Did she know that she was going to be taking the whole room by herself? She probably didn't even sleep on your bed if it was 2 single beds. Come on, Anonymous, come on. No. I would definitely not pay you back. And the friend, or please rather don't expect your friend to pay you back.
Hey, good morning, Clement. How? The friend didn't ask to have the room on her own. It just happened by default because Anonymous could not pay or could not travel. Sorry. So asking for a refund because you had a room on your own is as if you asked to have the room on your own. If she wanted to, the friend, she could have paid probably 28,000 rand on her own to have a full room. So Anonymous onale drama. Really, really, really. Obi, thank you.
Hi, Clement. My wife has just come back from an overseas trip, and part of that holiday trip included accommodation. And two of the friends that she was supposed to go with didn't go, and she was supposed to share a room with those friends, and they didn't go. She went and when she went there, she enjoyed that big room on her own, and she had lots of fun on her own. And when she came back, they didn't ask for a refund because they understood that it wasn't a problem. They were supposed to go and they didn't go. Mandan Pinoni.
Yeah, hey. This is the first time we have a story on the sharing space where everybody just agrees. Normally there's one side and there's the other side. This time around, anonymous askis, but yeah, here I will not kill. Sipati, you're in Honeydew. Good morning.
Hi.
Hello.
If I was the one being asked to do the refund, I would cancel this friend. She's no friend. Friends like this, you don't need.
So what? You break up a layer, Sipati?
No. I don't have time for this nonsense. I'm canceling.
Yeah, Sipati in Honeydew. Thank you. You see, guys, that's why I love traveling on my own. I love traveling on my own because you want to just avoid the drama. Yeah. Avoid drama and book your thing and just go on your own. Because tabatsadi friendships, groups, and what. It's always going to get to some trouble somewhere. And I don't want drama. So, #travel on your own. You'll never get it wrong.
Morning, Clement. I found this totally crazy as the friend cannot be accountable for someone's mistake, more especially on such a expensive trip where one has to check all the required either documents or whatever that is being required should have been checked and make it see to it that they are on point. I highly don't understand this, and I don't think the friend can be held liable totally. So the friend should just accept that it's his or her fault. Big Jack from Montrose, thank you.
I think it all has to do with the character of a person. Considering that these guys had agreed to go all together, if the person is a good person, they can, gazat, everyone, maybe 2,000, and say, you know what, my friend, sorry you couldn't make it for the trip. First and foremost, you missed out. We sympathize with you. Here's 2,000, but she mustn't feel entitled to their roommate who got the 28,000 room alone. It's not her fault. But it boils down to her character. Is it someone that can be sympathized with?
Good morning, Clement. How are you, sir? I'm fine. Hey, Mr. Manyathela. Anonymous is actually asking for something that is neither here nor there from a friend. Really, I mean, a friend did not do anything wrong for Anonymous not to go to the trip. So why should a friend pay? No, it's a little bit unfair. And again, when you book this kind of accommodations, they tell you upfront about the terms and conditions. So it's risky. It's risky to pay that money because you might lose it. So it's a risk that one takes, especially when you are traveling. So Anonymous must not stress her friend or his friend.
Yeah, guys, this is so funny. Listen, just the friends must just get memorabilia, like bring her something from Greece, and that's it. Like, I'm gonna get a Greece, and then that's it. I don't think Ligaza the now you must contribute towards the 14,000 rand. No. Anonymous, it's not going to work. It's 4 minutes now before 12.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
We are now off the grey list, and I would argue that based on the very criteria that got us off the grey list, we've probably not done so well to be taken off the grey list. Your thoughts?
I think we have improved. Let's take SAR as an example. It has been rehabilitated to quite an extent in terms of its core mandate and oversight. I think where the weak points are still is in our prosecutorial authorities. We've seen from the Madlanga Commission, but we're on the right track, I think, in this case, and there has been some progress.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
You could do something first and still be doing it wrong. What hurts is sprinting but never making it to the finish line. Quit going in the wrong direction because with Sunny Sixt, you can rent here and globally. Other car rental companies only have a vision to try harder. We actually deliver. While they leave you feeling blue, our budget and vibe match yours. For a tailored service offering premium at every stage, book premium car rental excellence with Sunny Sixt.
Enjoy the thrill of the Soccer Punches Challenge Weekend Edition, an all-new platform from Hollywood Bets. You stand a chance to win a share of the 5 million rand jackpot when you bet 5 rand or more on selected EPL matches over the weekend and correctly predict 10 out of 10 winning margins. Or chase the share of the 50,000 rand leaderboard prize. Entry is free. Let this soccer season bring sizzling success. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is licensed by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. Insurance. 2. Pineapple. 1. You're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Coming up
On the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Mandy.
Good morning, Clement.
What's popping today?
The suspect in the Mamelodi cousins' murder has appeared in court today. We thought we'd be getting a bail application, but that has been abandoned. So we'll find out about that. The Madlanga Commission, a new witness on the stand. We've been hearing about guns that were found at Katiso Katie Molefe's home. So we'll get the latest there. We'll look at the G20, the corruption arm or anti-corruption arm of that currently underway. We'll also hear about how Joburg can benefit from the G20. The lower court judges are protesting today. We'll find out why. And then I've been watching. The Proteas are batting first in the World Cup semi-final currently underway.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. I'll be back with you tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for listening today, my friends. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The man accused of killing 2 women in Mamelodi has abandoned his bail application. Tebogo Mnisi in Mamelodi has abandoned his bail application. Tebogo Mnisi appeared in court briefly this morning facing 5 charges. Nisi was arrested in connection with the shooting of Baleseng and Siamo Moramaga on Sunday. The bodies of the 2